joining here with you. It's a Thursday, June 12th, 2025. I got Alec Nava here with me. We're going to get settled here in a little bit for Game 4. It's Connor McDavid, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Connor Brown, Mattias Ekholm, and Jake Walman for Chris Block squad to start off. We got Draisaitl, Evander Kane, Kasperi Kapanen, Darnell Nurse, and Troy Stecher. Adam Enrique, Jeff Skinner, Trent Frederick, Matthias Janmark, Vasily Podkolzin, and Corey Perry, with Brett Kulak and Evan Bouchard. As you notice, we'll talk about that in a moment. The lineups sound drastically different for Edmonton. And for Paul Maurice's squad, the Florida Panthers, no changes, and why would they? Alex Barkov, Carter Raggy, Sam Reinhart, Gustav Forsling, Aaron Ekblad, Sam Bennett, Evan Rodriguez, Matthew Tkachuk, Nico Mikola, Zeph Jones, and Tom Lundell, Eetu Luostarina, Brad Marchand, Tomas Nosek, AJ Greer, Jonah Gadjevich, with Nate Schmidt, Dmitry Kulikov, Stuart Skinner in goal for Edmonton, Sergei Bobrovsky in goal for Florida. But Alec, as I look at the lineup for Edmonton, admittedly, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins still playing injured. I see Jake Walman promoted to the first line, even after some of the stuff in the festivities. Troy Stecher going to play in his first finals game. You're going to have Jeff Skinner in there as well, and Evan Bouchard at the third line, with Corey Perry at the fourth. Kind of feels like they're grasping at straws.
You feel that way, though. Corey Perry was up at the top line, and at 40 years old, you don't think that's sustainable. And most shockingly enough, well, in a sarcastic sort of way, it's not sustainable. So that's why he was moved all the way down to the fourth line again. You get Connor Brown, who was formerly a top six forward between Toronto and Ottawa. That's a better fit for the Oilers in this case. You have Brown up at the top line of Nugent-Hopkins and McDavid. And then you shake things up. Viktor Arvidsson, yes, he did score. But when he was out there, he was brutal in the series. The Oilers were thoroughly outplayed when he was out on the ice in the goal share and the shot share. John Klingberg, he was out there for a vast majority of the Oilers' goals against. With him on the ice, Edmonton was outscored 5-1 at 5-on-5 in this series. That's not good enough. And they wanted to change things up to put Troy Stecher on the lineup. Now, even though the Oilers, they were slightly outscored with him on the ice, he helps calm down Darnell Nurse's bad habits. So that pairing does work in a habit. You put Walman and Ekholm next to one another, that will bring two heavy shots and two defensive defensemen on the fray. Brett Kulak and Evan Bouchard, they've worked together nicely in the first 3 rounds. Now, the Oilers, they didn't struggle scoring goals against the Kings, Golden Knights, Canucks, or Stars in the last 2 seasons on the road in the playoffs, even for them being top 10 defensive teams at home in those 2 seasons. Now, Florida's up in that top 10 category, but they are a well-oriented team all around, and they can beat, bang, and wear you down.
So as we talked about, Alec, admittedly, it's going to be a duos broadcast for us. We still got a lot of notes ready to go here for the intermission, so I know we're still going to have a good one. But Edmonton opened this series with a 4-3 win in overtime. Florida wins Game 2 in double overtime, 5-4. Both of those games are instant classics. Game 3 was very interesting, and it gave us a lot to talk about, although the scoreline was more similar to those Toronto games we don't really like to go back to. Another 6-1 for the Cats. An utter demolishing. Remember when Cooper was on the broadcast with us, 140 penalty minutes equates to 70 minor penalties. He was right. The Cats crushed the Oilers. And yes, it was a 2-1 game after Perry scored on a power play tip, but the stats and everything do not dictate. It was pure domination for the Panthers. Brad Marchand just 56 seconds in. Raggy scores a rifle. Ray tucks it in the top of the crossbar. The Bennett shift goal with a couple of hits. And the 2-0 pass from Luostarina off that setup, the E-Rod bomb. Cats scored 3 times with the man advantage while the Oilers were just looking for a pound of flesh. The reset at home, Trent Frederick, Mattias Ekholm, Nurse, Walman all ended up leaving in the game with the misconduct. And this is not a cherry pick. I'm sure that the Oilers fans would not be okay with Darnell Nurse getting away with 4 cross checks to the back of Lundell. And then the Panthers forwards taking some punches. They were trying to find a response, but it was fight night, and that's why I titled this game Response. This has got to be about the hockey tonight, and if the Edmonton Oilers don't find a way to take this 2-2, going back into Rogers, I have a very hard time believing that they're going to recover from a 3-1 series deficit. This is not last year.
The scariest part for the Panthers? Alexander Barkov doesn't have a point in this finals. Matthew Tkachuk only has 2 points in the finals. We have yet to see any true breakout games for them. But with Barkov, he's being deployed over 20 minutes a night. He got 30 plus in the double overtime win. He's been tasked with containing the top line of McDavid and Draisaitl, who were both held without a point all of Game 3. That was a good job through the Panther defense, not just Barkov, but the well-oriented unit, well-rounded between him, Reinhart, Losterinen, and Lundell. Marchand also chiming in on the shorthanded penalty-killing units, and he's thrived on this lineup. But Barkov, we haven't seen him on the offensive side, and seeing him catch fire too, that would be Edmonton's worst nightmare.
Yeah, it would, Alec, and you're exactly right with the production or lack thereof for Barkov and Tkachuk, but we're going to be completely honest with you. They haven't been passengers in this series. They've still been driving, playing good defense and all that. They haven't been needed because everyone else has been carrying stuff. But to Alec's point, if they do percolate at all, Edmonton's already in serious trouble. And yes, I understand. It's only a 2-1 series advantage. If Edmonton wins and gets us back 2-2, those narratives can get shut off. But what we saw the other day, that might have a tendency to have lingering effects, and we'll find out within the next 10 minutes or so after this puck drop, and we'll see what ends up happening here for Edmonton. But they got taken to town.
Yeah, they did. Thoroughly. Back and forth. Oof. That does not look good.
So for Stuart Skinner, admittedly, he is back in the goal crease. And Alec and I said as much. Out of the 18 of 23, that was not his fault. There were a lot of people out there that were mentioning Calvin Pickard should go back in there because he hasn't lost yet in the postseason. But I believe, in just my opinion, if it's not for Stuart Skinner, he wouldn't be here right now. That's the best guy that you have as the option. So that's what's going to go ahead and happen. And Alec, I know the scoreline got out of the way, but again, Bobrovsky, 32 of 33 in the win. He's been remarkably consistent. He might not be in Conn Smythe watch territory, but he probably should be.
Probably, if it weren't for the heroics of Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand. This is the first time that we see a set of teammates score 4 goals or a goal in each of the first 3 games of a Stanley Cup Final since Steve Payne and Dino Ciccarelli in 1981 for the Minnesota North Stars. Even though Minnesota lost that finals due to Islander dynasty, that's elite company for both Bennett and Marchand.
I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to take the first, you take the second. I'll have you close today, Alec, in the mix of it. But I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to put you on the spot, but just give me your honest thoughts. Does Edmonton tie the series tonight?
I feel there is a good chance it does. I said to Ian that if Florida wins Game 3, Edmonton wins Game 4. And I'm sticking to my word here. If Stuart Skinner can be due for a bounce-back game, it would be here. Especially since it's a Game 4 where he's won his last 6 Game 4s.
And that's my thought, too. Unbelievably, I'm going to step on the grenade, and I'll still say that Edmonton finds a way to tie it. There's no narrative that makes sense that should happen. But I think with all of the lineup adjustments, Chris Knobloch's at least saying, hey, guys, we need to wake up and get back to our defensive game and figure out the things and play with our pace when we need to. But most importantly, we can't leave our goaltender out to dry. But that was the other part that I was thinking about, Alec, in terms of Calvin Pickard. No, he's not starting today. But I also think maybe they should have went with Pickard for this game in particular, only because with all the other change-ups, that would force the Edmonton Oilers to make sure that they get away from all the extracurricular stuff that bit them pretty hard in the last game.
That would be, because all of that extracurricular stuff at the end of that game got everything into a mess. The Oilers, they played right onto the Panthers' trap. Plain and simple.
Yes, they did. So, admittedly, I got the message back from Cooper. He's going to be traveling, I believe, back to Seattle. So, I don't know if he's going to be on Saturday's call. If Edmonton finds a way to tie it, I would imagine he would be with us on the side for a close when we get to the portion in the next week. But, again, we'll be back on the air with you on Saturday. And the question is now, before this game starts, whether it's going to be 2-2 or a 3-1 series. Game 6 would be settled for Tuesday, June 17th, and that is all dependent on whether Edmonton largely gets the job done today, because if it goes to 3-1, as much as I'll give the Oilers credit, I think that they can find a way to tie it. But again, it doesn't make much sense when I say it coming out of my lips. But if they find a way to tie it, we'll see what happens Tuesday, June 17th. But if it goes to 3-1, Alec, I don't think Edmonton's winning another game.
Yeah, I don't think so either. If it goes to 3-1, it's wraps. If it's tied at 2 apiece, then the series is wide open. And it's anyone's game from here on out. And it sets up for a much more interesting Game 5.
When we get to the second intermission as well, between Alec, I'm going to get some of his thoughts on what's been going on between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, because my 4 eyes look on the box score. Indiana's won another game, and they're up 2-1 in the series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dare I say the Thunder might be in trouble. Very interesting.
Oh no, it's the Thunder. They know how to bounce back from adversity, but so do the Pacers. These two teams are well-rounded.
So we'll talk about that more in the second intermission. We got a lot of news and notes to get to in the first. We're underway. I'll take the lead off here. Alec will take the second. He'll close as this shot is blocked from McDavid. And toward the right side, a couple of stabs by Bobrovsky. Wraparound attempt. This one gets denied as McDavid throws it back to the point for Bouchard, and that shot goes wide. An immediate pressure here for the Edmonton Oilers. There's a stick on the ice, and I believe it's going to belong to one of the Oilers. There's a dive for the Cats. Excellent work to be able to get that one down the ice as Brett Kulak was, again, on that portion of the first shift as 40 seconds have expired in the opening of Game 4. John Underwood alongside Alec Nava. Duo is going to take you through this entire Game 4. If Ian joins in, he's more than welcome. As this is sent back around for Eetu Luostarinen. And for the moment, Luostarinen's got it. And alongside Lindell, here's a backhanded pass. You have Marchand off the rush. And this will be chipped in the left side corner. Brad Marchand off the stick lift. Emerges Lindell. He's got it on his forehand. Sauce pass Mikkola throws it at the net. And this one will be blocked, put out of play. 18:52 in the first.
Excellent start for the Oilers here. Early pressure as Connor Brown tap passes this to an open Connor McDavid. Sergei Bobrovsky gets a piece as it bounces off of him and just wide the net. McDavid was that close to finding it. Shot placement is very important because Bobrovsky rarely gets beat low. McDavid, I feel he could have elevated that towards one of the top corners to strike.
I'm not going to disagree with that at all, Alec. I'll just say this honestly. That's a perfect pass from Connor Brown. And the mix of McDavid, I like the no hesitation. I like to see him shoot today. And maybe we'll see more of that as Edmonton tries to tie this series back up. We get an overhead cam. As this only chipped in the corner by Ekholm. Baseball-style snag will put this across center ice. Kachuk will watch us go to the right side corner. Sam Bennett, he has been an absolute machine. Again, that double hit. And then the 2-on-0 was everything you need to know about that shift. Here's a slapper, Mikkola, big rebound, couple of chances for the Cats as they come right back. Sent back in behind the inboards now for Chuck E. Cheese. Centering feed, diving across, Stuart Skinner. I'm not sure I had sight of the puck for a moment, but he did, and that was the most important part. This is picked up now from Evander Kane. That's the best save of the game so far. Leon Draisaitl sends it in across the goal now. Sam Bennett off a stick lift. So good there was Seth Jones. He's punching the corner. But Stuart Skinner, my goodness, what a start for him.
Oh, right after the hot start for the Oilers, the Panthers get onto the hot start their own, riding the momentum they built off of Game 3. What a tremendous blocker save by Stuart Skinner. He somehow kept that one out. It went off the side of his body. That was a surefire goal that was turned away at the best possible moment.
That did partially a part of the armpit. I guess it doesn't surprise me. I like that it was Sam Bennett was the one with that shot. As this is loose out in front again. Another big save for Skinner. He's standing tall very early.
The Oilers, they need to shake out the habits of slow starts. Yes, they did score 3 times in the first period of Game 2, but it's slow starts that have been plaguing them in the Stanley Cup Final. Alexander Barkov, who did not have a point in the first 3 games, he nearly found the back of the net, and Skinner's forced to do a little too much here in the opening 3 minutes.
Yeah, you're right about that because Verhaeghe throws right up to Barkov near the right post, and Brett Kulak lost an edge, gave up the puck right in front. You mentioned the games in between 4 through 7 now. That's where we are, is Game 4, and now the numbers get so much better for Chris Knobloch and Stuart Skinner and the like. He turns into pretty much the Incredible Hulk, and that's what he's done right now. Shot board is 5-1 with 17:30 thereabouts in the first cross pass. as this is recollected to the right side. Janmark is now pinned Corey Perry, as this is picked off by Dmitry Kulikov and then sent back to the left side blue line. This will get another whistle up and out of play. But as Alec mentioned, the shot board already slanted. It's 5-1 Cats.
And Corey Perry on this fourth line, that was his natural role throughout the course of the season. Him being a fourth liner at the stage of his career, not a bad option, but ideally you want to keep him on the fourth line. Having him play top line minutes at 40 years old isn't really a strategy you want to fall back on. But with Zach Hyman out for the year, the Oilers, through the last few games, they had no choice at that point, up until now.
And Alex stats that he's thrown across in the preview, they show up now 18-2 in games 4 through 7. The goals against from about 3.6 to 1.7. A completely different team, but the Cats are not anemic in any area, so this is going to be a big challenge as Marchand gets denied short side by Stuart Skinner. He has been brilliant early, and yes, I have to use that word 3 minutes in. As battle for the puck, this one's won by the Oilers and the Road Whites. Again, they are so looking forward to going back to Rogers Place, and they're going to have to try to earn a split. They need to, otherwise this series could be finito. Sent back in behind the inboards now for Skinner, as this is way off sides, and we'll get a stoppage at 16:44.
Aaron Ekblad thought that this puck was still in the offensive zone as it just exited out. Just a smidge of the puck went outside of the zone, right past the blue line, but excellent work by Skinner early.
6-1 on the shot board. I can't punch that enough right now, and if it's not for Stuart Skinner, Florida could already have a couple of goals. That cross pass set up there for Bennett. Again, he just gets the outside of the armpit on it. Otherwise, it's already going to be a goal for the Cats, and they're feeling good. Their fans are already into this right now. They just need a conversion. And the Oilers really are trying to survive at the moment. It's just picked up now. Bennett takes a hit. This goes back to Nate Schmidt. He's been so good. They need it from with the Cats. What a pass. Here's Bennett. This one off the kick plate, behind by the shoulder of Stuart Skinner. Is picked up now from Mattias Ekholm, slowing around the handboards. Now Kulikov off the pinch. And here's some body contact. Schmidt pins his man near the player's bench. And this goes back to the home Reds in the mix of the white and the blue pants. The Florida Panthers trying to go up 3-1, trying to take 2 cups in the last 3 years. Now Stuart Skinner slowly around the handboards. Verhaeghe will peel back. He's got to turn on his burners, though. Here's an opportunity now for McDavid. He just throws it into the middle and conceivably gets picked off. And Evan Bouchard will have it. McDavid is on the right wing breaking out as this goes back down to Evan Bouchard, who was slamming it off the kick plate, chip it in. Sent back around the handboards. Good reverse hit there for Edmonton. Takes out one of the Cats and behind the play. Here's Ekblad off the rush. One too many passes. And this left to get stick aside by Stuart Skinner. Barkov throws it back to the point for Forsling. Shot into the traffic. Reinhardt now tries to get a recollect. This will flip it back down deep. Barkov. He's got a power forward and he's got the hands of a sniper, essentially. He's got it all. As it's picked up now, touch pass, Reinhardt, good one. Forsling finds the lane, shoots. This one gets blocked, goes up and on a play. Said that a lot already. 15:04 in the first.
The 1-on-1 match between Barkov and McDavid is an intriguing one. Even for Barkov being tasked with shutting down McDavid and Draisaitl, McDavid is an underrated defensive player. As he hounds Barkov, does a good job at shutting off his options.
Yeah, and if you're McDavid, you already have the skills and sense. As you said, he's a supremely talented hockey player, but the speed is unmatched. And then you put that same line out there now with Brown and McDavid, dual counters there with tons of speed. Maybe try to elongate some breakouts. Now, we mentioned last year in the Game 4 side after the Cats went up 3-0, Panthers got bludgeoned 8-1, and they kept giving up breakaways, slot shots, everything else you imagine their defense would be ready for it this time around, even though they already won last year. Picked up now as this goes back in off the glass. Nice keep in here for Seth Jones, but he will cough it up to the left side blue line. As we settle back now, Kasperi Kapanen, this backhand will get dispossessed by Nico Mikkola and then sent back in behind as one of the Cats finishes their check. Bobrovsky puts it slowly in behind the inboards. Might be vulnerable to an Edmonton forecheck here, and a pass will be recollected and across the middle as it goes across the Cats logo down at Bank Arena. John Eder with you alongside Alec Malva. It's the site for Game 4. And we're trying to see what's going to happen in this series, whether it's 2-2 for Edmonton or 3-1 for the Cats. Darnell Nurse, his pass for Corey Perry. This will hunt it on the right side. Bortz take a hit, stay on his feet from Seth Jones. Thrown back to the left side point. Here's Walman, wide open across the middle. Here's a wraparound opportunity, but it never got to Bobrovsky. He did get taken down. This is sent back now for Evan Rodriguez. AJ Greer dropped no sec. That was a great play, and that got knocked away. As Corey Perry was the last one back, Pod Colson now gives chase for Dmitry Kulikov. He will leave it back for Bobrovsky, but again, it's very busy. A much more noticeable forecheck here for the Edmonton Oilers, and that is good to see for them, but they are getting destroyed on the shot board 7-1. But the most important part is it's still goalless for them. Sent back now to the left side red line as this will go back. And Walman will let the forwards for Chris Knobloch's squad take a change to get organized. Walman did not have a good Game 3. He needs to be much better in this Game 4. You can say that about a host of Oilers. Connor McDavid. But we'll try to drop this around with Sam Reinhart. Flip back for RNH. Again, he's battling through injury. Slapper. This will kiss the glass, go way wide, and then shoveled away from Bouchard. 13 minutes left to go in the first. It's been a lot of shots here for the Cats. Not much going on for the Oilers. Evan Rodriguez, that barely gets out. And the Cats, this will be pull ball, so it's not ice. Kulak gets it away from Barkov, and it goes back to Brett. Loose out in front a couple of times, and Stuart Skinner eyes in the back of his head. Boy, oh boy, bailed his team out there.
John, the Oilers are lucky to be where they're at right now. They're getting outshot heavily here, 8-1, and the big reason why they're still in this game is, of course, as of every Game 4, Stuart Skinner, as he's bailing his team out time and time again. That was a knuckler. That was going towards the top right corner of the net, and Skinner saw that all the way and brought it down.
Well, there is no question, Alec, from what we saw within the first 8 minutes or so, that starting Stuart Skinner was the right decision because, as you said, without him, Panthers could be up by a couple of goals already.
Yeah. As we noted, that the Panthers, they could be up by several goals here. We could be looking at a 2-0 game if not for the heroics of Skinner. So saying Calvin Pickard should be playing in this game, what would you want Pickard to do? Skinner is your go-to guy.
No, Pickard would have already surrendered a couple goals. No disrespect to him. I know he's undefeated in the postseason so far, but Skinner's been able to stand up to the answer and stand tall. He's really had to. As you said, this has been completely one-sided. And yet, if the Oilers can find a way, Alec, to keep this within one goal, maybe they bide their time. But as we've talked about in this series, they have to find an answer, especially in that second period, because they have not had one.
They were dominated throughout all the second periods of this finals. They were all right in the first three series between LA, Vegas, and Dallas. Of course, they took advantage of LA's miscues. They took advantage of Vegas' sloppy play, and Dallas. Yeah, I felt that there was a general feeling that was going to happen with the outcome. People were saying that, well, Dallas is going to beat the Oilers. Well, that didn't happen. But still, as it stands, it's still scoreless. And the Oilers are happy to be where they're at right now.
Yeah, they are. Again, they have to feel fortunate, as you said. Like, have to wonder, again, you're right. You called that with Edmonton and Dallas. I didn't see it that way, but Dallas was completely inept. Florida's not in that same portion of being inept. Anything but, as this one gets deflected. Big rebound. Another save, Skinner, as we get an overhead cam. That's his 9th already, as it's bounced with the right pad. This is getting ridiculous here, as this is sent the other way now for Nico Mikkola. Skinner's got to be hoping that this puck goes on the other end of the ice at some point, and at some point soon. Flip back now for Brad Marchand as he chips it in around the corner. And this reverse hit off of Draisaitl keeps it in for the Cats. Good touch pass. Mikkola got to let it go. Baseball style snag again for Skinner. He's already 10 of 10, and it's 12-12 left to go in the first.
The Oilers have to turn it on right now. So far, the Panthers, they're mauling them at 5-on-5. If this keeps up, we could already see another Panther victory if they continue to maul the Oilers at 5-on-5. Edmonton, has struggled at 5-on-5 here at Amaranth Bank Arena, and that's been a common theme in the finals.
Yeah, it really feels like the Cats, and again, I don't say this too lightly, but they have extra players on the ice. The Oilers should not be getting pushed around that much. Admittedly, Alec, they might be struggling with some of those line changes that they've made. Yes, it's the same players, but these lines and these roles are not always the same as they've been. As Kachuk, this one gets floated away from Bennett, punched in off the glass. Kulak sends it in across the red as Bennett able to give chase by his lonesome. Sitting around the inboards now, Cats working across the wall. Schmidt high slot looking for a deflection for Bennett. It goes just wide. Kachuk. This pass a little too hot to handle as this is cleared in across the red line. Cats had to check back up off the delayed offside, so that's going to give the Oilers a chance to touch the puck. Having a chance to do that too much. 11:25 left to go on the first. Good bounce pass there for Darnell Nurse as this one sent in around the glass from Leon Draisaitl, slowed down by Bobrovsky. Oilers, McDavid, high slot wrister blocked expertly by Barkov. That is what he does. That's why he won the Selkie. Sent back around the other way, and the King Clancy for gentlemanly play was very good on all ends of the ice. As this is recollected now for Bouchard. He did not gain the red, but I think they're going to give it to him anyway, as this is recollected by the Cats. This will be recollected now for Reinhardt one more time, and Verhaeghe throws it in off the glass. As this is settled down by the defensive side. Boquist had it for a moment, tried to play a back pass, but one of the Cats was on their heavily padded wall. It got tripped down. Seth Jones has to play some defense, cancel off that red line. And the Cats will go ahead and play at the puck. They want to go right to left. They've been doing a lot of that in the first. It's really left to right. The Oilers have been able to do that. Lindell, what a move! And still skating in. Another glove save for Skinner. But Lindell just took that 120 feet.
120. Going coast to coast. The Panthers continuing this display here in the first period. Feel at the break that the Oilers, they need to do some pep talks because something's not clicking outside that first minute of action.
Too much sunshine and sunrise like Biz when he looked like a cherry red tomato?
Yeah, it feels that way.
This is going to be an offensive zone draw here. Again, a house of horrors can be sunrise for anybody. You ask the Red Wings. Again, the last 25 games the Red Wings played here, they lost 23. And again, I know it's an Atlantic Division rival, and the Oilers are not, but it's been a house of horrors. That could have been a trip. That was not called. Fortunate enough now for the Oilers, as this is sent back now, chipped in around for Forsling, and put around the inboards. As this will be slowed down for R&H. He doesn't look like he's skating well at all. As this is settled back down for Stuart Skinner. He's got some sandbags underneath those legs. So Jake Walman off the pinch. And this one will be put toward the right side of the wall. Opportunity now is this will be taken away from Kulak. Good pass here. AJ Greer. He's going to have to try to dive at it right now, try to keep it in the zone, and Nosek will finish off a hit in the zone end. Kulak with the pinch, and this goes back down. We got a lot of action, not a lot of stoppages, with exception with the pucks that got deflected as A.J. Greer lost it. He takes a hit up toward the face. Penalty, high stick against Payne. And he's had a rough series over the last couple of games after I gave him some compliments. We'll go to the break, but the Cats go back to the power play for the first time.
That's not what the Oilers needed. A high stick to the face from A.J. Greer after he had a rough, and I mean a very rough game 3. This is the last thing the Oilers need because penalty killing on the road has not been their strong suit. The Panthers, they scored just once on the man advantage entering the finals at home. They got 2 in game 3.
Yeah, when you talk about some of those numbers in specifics, and I do think I have these in my notes, we'll look at this right now. Edmonton was 1 for 6 on the power play, and it sounds like a lot because it is. Again, we talk about the 140 penalty minutes. Florida was 3 for 11, and you mentioned it, Alec, about a 3.5 conversion rate on the power play and home ice. They had 11 power play opportunities. I would say you take those conversion rates now and throw it out the window. I'm sure Florida's got already enough reps, and that was all within game 3, and they start with the first one in game 4.
Of course, that's not the start that you want if you're the Oilers. In the meantime, vibes are good at the 305. Jason Taylor banging the drums. You got Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift together here at Amaranth Bank Arena. Life's good for the celebrities in Miami.
I would say the same thing because you mentioned it the other day, and alongside Bam Adebayo, Udonis Haslem, they were certainly good luck. And then I guess if Edmonton does find a way to win this game, next time they go back around to Sunrise, might want to bring back Bam and Udonis.
Yeah, you would think so. Bam Adebayo, of course, he's a long-term fit in Miami.
So we're getting some commercials and some camera shots here between the Panthers and the Oilers, and those have been a lot more exciting over the first couple of games than it was in Game 3. It was the fight night. Again, that was exciting for plenty of different reasons, as Darren Pang now is giving an interview to Chris Knobloch talking about some of the other injured players playing this time of year. 13-4 record plus 20 goal differential after losing the first two games of the Kings in that first round. But it's going to be challenged now. Again, the plus-minus won't change if Florida scores, but they got the first opportunity with the man advantage. Wrister, Seth Jones, big rebound, another save with Skinner with the left pad. Traffic all in front of Sam Bennett as Jones has it near the high slot. This pass partially bounces in off the inboards. There's a slot feed right in front for Ekblad, who pinched all the way up, and that pass doesn't hit. And that will allow the Oilers to send it back down. So specialty teams, 6th, 24.7% support in the postseason, 14th with penalty kill. Keep in mind, you only have 16 postseason teams. That's at 64.7%. That is brutal.
Very brutal. At that rate, that's a huge yikes for them. Now, for defending champions who got up 2-1 in a series, in the finals, for defending champions, 9 of the past 10 have gone on to win the series. Well, and you have 16 years ago today with the Marc-Andre Fleury saves being the lone exception.
Again, that makes me think about a lot of that stuff on the side of it, because with the Wings, again, Nicholas Lidstrom being wide open and not finishing that one certainly hurts my heart. But again, both of our teams tasted success, and I wish best for Marc-Andre Fleury as well. Always love to watch him play. As it's sent the other way now for Barkov. Picked up on the backhand now for Sam Reinhart, and behind the cage of Skinner. They have lived there in this first period. It's a tripping penalty again against the Oilers.
Darnell Nurse is going to go off. And what a way to shoot yourselves in the foot. As Nurse, he wanted to hunt the puck, but instead clips one of the feet of one of the Panthers. As Alexander Barkov, he grabbed this puck. He just tripped him up with the feet. What in the world?
Yeah, there is no sell job there for Alex Barkov. I just don't know what the heck he was doing there. He lost control of the stick. And one of the fans I want to acknowledge that's in behind the glass of both of those two in the box. They are going wild here at Amerant Bank Arena. This has got to be a face-off win, but it was lost by the Oilers. Kachuk walks in. He scores! The Cats take the lead. It's Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, at last, he's found the back of the net. After 3 games of where he just not scored a goal, he has gotten on the board here, and Travis Kelce loves that, and so does Taylor Swift. Matthew Tkachuk getting towards the front of the net. This is what Florida needs. We have Nurse in the box, and he immediately fires this one. A quick snipe that goes by Stuart Skinner as he uses Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Evan Bouchard to his advantage. Alexander Barkov sets it up too on the screen.
What a shot. There was not a lot of room there for Kachuk. He kept it low to the bottom right of the crossbar. And you know who else is very happy with that? Keith Kachuk, but Cooper Hopkins on his plane ride. I have to make sure I give him some notes there once this all gets posted, as the former Calgary Flames scores another big goal. It gives the Cats a 1-0 lead, and oh, by the way, pretty much another 2 minutes still to work with on that Darnell Nurse tripping penalty against Barkov. So the first of the series for Kachuk. What a good time at that. And the Cats have the lead. They probably should be up by more, but at least they got the conversion. Here's Bennett. Nice windmill. He'll stop near the right side of the point, as this will be settled back down. Schmidt, this goes between his legs. That's one of the rare miscues for number 88. He really hadn't had any of them. Picked up now for Marchand, as he is pressed against the left side of the glass. Verhaeghe now tries to join in on the fun. Cats score here again. Edmonton's going to be in some serious danger. As this is settled back in behind the inboards. Luostarinen He'll slow it down, settle back down for Schmidt. He's got it at the point this time and slows it. Here's a tip off the redirect. That goes wide. Verhaeghe, who was near the left side. Slap pass. Schmidt one-timer. That one fought off by Skinner. Picked up now Verhaeghe near the left point. Schmidt sends it across. Verhaeghe wide open. He tries to roof it. It hits Skinner right in the face. Goes back down to Verhaeghe. He sends a cross pass down, glove by the hand. Nate Schmidt, high point. One more touch for Verhaeghe. This is beautiful puck movement. And Nate Schmidt, he gets burned, but a good back check there. He stops a break there for Edmonton. That could have been a disaster. But we'll start again because Florida has played so well, you can't give up anything. Kachuk with his 6 from Barkov. This is right off the kick plate to Seth Jones. Throw back down for Ekblad in their own end. We can take a breath. Shot board, if you can believe it, is 12-2 Cats. And they're already up 1, courtesy of Chuck E. Cheese. Sent back around now for Barkov. Kachuk tries to get this in the corner, left side red line. Here is Jones. Does not shoot. Kachuk, he goes for a slap pass. This is off the side of the cage. It was denied a couple times from Reinhart and Skinner. Ekblad throws it back to Sam. Now for Matthew. Now Barkov, he gets denied 5-hole by Skinner. Yes, he's given up 1, but he is the only reason why this game is still close.
The only reason. As Connor McDavid broke up the Sam Bennett's intended look, Nate Schmidt denies the back check.
Yes.
Says to prevent him from getting any room right by. McDavid hunts the puck, pokes it away. Schmidt was right there to catch up with him.
Alec, it's fair to say if Schmidt doesn't make that play, which was great, he was going backwards with the stick job. If he doesn't make that play, Edmonton might have tied this game.
With the way that McDavid is playing, I know there's no guarantee of doing that, but he would have likely took off and went to the net.
Draisaitl now, D-zone draw. The latest power play has expired, but the Cats scored 1 in the 5-on-3 advantage. They had to, and that's what they got right now. Lucerinen against Draisaitl. Zone draw for Florida. Off the tie-up, Edmonton will win it as this bounces off Podkolzin. And it's settled down for Mikkola. Backhanded play, Lindell on a one-on-one, try to get his own stick chase against Troy Stecher starting in the finals here. Flip back in behind Skinner's crease off the outside of the mesh. Lucerinen doing some excellent work, but now he's got to peel back. Had no chance to get the puck on a 1-on-3, as this will be iced inconspicuously. If everything has gone wrong, it has for the Oilers, but again, it's only 1-0, but the shot board is 13-2.
Yeah, everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. I felt that they missed a high sticking penalty against Sam Bennett as Jake Walman got clipped up high.
They sure did. As Jake Walman, again, he was one of the ones in the pregame that got the interview and alongside everybody, Anson Carter and the like. As this is settled back down for Barkov, lost the draw and be flipped. This will be an opportunity for Trent Frederick to get a puck retrieval. He gets smoked. A reverse hip check. Frederick pops back up to his feet, throws it off the outside of Bobrovsky. Allows Connor McDavid to get it back to the point for Bouchard. They need something here, do the Oilers, as this shot goes up and out of play again. They get a stoppage at 5:26.
And people may think that when on power plays, feed Evan Bouchard. He has 7 shots on the man advantage. Well, he has no goals here in this finals. You'd think some point he'll be due for one, even if it's at 5-on-5 or on the power play. Whenever it has been at 5-on-5 power play time, you think that he's due for a goal. He did score in game 2. That was in a 4-on-4. We yet to see him strike at 5-on-5 or at power play.
And Alec, I think the large narrative that we can throw across a little bit in the pregame, and it hasn't been talked about a lot, but Bobrovsky, again, 32 of 33 in the win. In the mix of it in game 2 when the Cats won, it was 42 of 46 in double overtime. I know he lost that first game in the mix of OT and the 4-3, but Bobrovsky was good in that as well. Again, we talked about Marchand and Sam Bennett, but when you mentioned Bobrovsky and playing about as good as he could, I mean, this is him at his best. We've seen that in the postseason now for the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, Stuart Skinner showed his very best in Game 4. Sergei Bobrovsky is known to rise up to the occasion when the postseason arrives. I know he hasn't been tested a lot, but he's been excellent when tested. The Oilers need to test him more. force him to make a save, send people to the net, get bodies to the net.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about it, Alec, in terms of what we saw a few nights ago, and then you look at this now and you make all the changes, and it gives you a bad feeling in the pit of your stomach if you're an Oilers fan, because I'll be honest with you, this first period looks like the second period that we normally would see with the Cats. I don't think there's a way that the Oilers can play any worse now, given in the second period. That's the only good news that I can give to them, because they're getting completely dominated right now.
Yeah, and we know that this may be the last great shot for the Oilers in this year. If they don't win this year, I feel the next best shot for McDavid and company is kind of like a Lionel Messi career arc in the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, that would mean in terms of either worlds or going to a completely different team that is stacked. And, anyone would love to have him, although you and I will say this openly. I don't think there's any way in the world that he leaves Edmonton. But if Wayne Gretzky did, Connor McDavid could do too. I have to throw that out there. It's just settled back down by Forsling. Now Bouchard will step up, spin near the right side, work a passing off his backhand. Connor McDavid, what a move! Good save, Bobrovsky. Battle at the goal line. He's got it.
Great move by McDavid. Even better save by Bobrovsky. He's denied him once. He's denied him again here in this first period. Evan Bouchard has no shooting lane. So what does he do? Give it to McDavid, who walks around Gustav Forsling. And Corey Perry, known for getting to the net front, gets denied going 5-hole when getting the rebound up.
I will say for Gustav Forsling, and you're right, he got absolutely turned around by McDavid. He's still trying to play him stride for stride. Gustav Forsling probably played as good a defense as he could and still got burned by McDavid. That's how good number 97 is. We know that. As this will be settled back down for Podkolzin near the right side wing. He's going to have to take it for Draisaitl. So if you're Red Sally here, just try to throw this near the right side dot, maybe get an open shot, some kind of quick strike. But Mikkola able to get this. It's chipped. Not out, though, and this will be bounced a couple of times. Marchand gets hit right in the mouth. Now, this one was called. The Oilers are going to be upset that Walman got hit in the mouth and not called, but the one against Marchand, you bet. Edmonton going back to the box.
This is upsetting. So you call out the one that on Marchand in which he got high-sticked, but not the one on Walman in which Bennett high-sticks him. I get that penalty had to be called. But that's hypocrisy at its finest.
That's what the Oilers are going to say. Again, they won't have a lot to stand out from the previous game, as we all noted when Cooper Hopkins was here on that. But in this instance, Alec, you're absolutely right. The Oilers should already have one power play. And if Florida scores here, I think they're really going to be heated. And it's going to be up to Chris Knoblauch, who's normally cool as a cucumber, to keep his team in check, because they were not in check in Game 3. They've got to just find a way to only stay down one after this miserable first period. As it's picked up the other way. Again, it's only 1-0. Settle back down for Reinhart. This pass will partially get picked off and thrown back into the Cats' defensive end. The Selke Trophy winner, Barkov, finished captain. We'll leave it now, as this will get picked up ahead. And Jones will throw a back pass here for Barkov. They'll work on the puck entry. Settle back for Barkov. What a touch pass. Good shot. Oh, one-timer! And that one is fanned on. It was wide open. Beautiful puck movement from right to left for Tkachuk to Barkov, but he airmailed it.
He aired this one as Tkachuk found Barkov on a wide open net. I don't know, you can get a greater look at this one, but I feel there was a stick in the way as Barkov, there was a stick in the lane from Brett Kulak as we got a second look.
You're right, Alec. I think Brett Kulak, thank you for that. I think he saved the goal, because otherwise I thought that was completely airmailed. He got a stick on it at the last moment to deny that, because Barkov, he had a yawning cage to shoot at. There was no way Skinner was going to make that save. And he already made one draw dropper against Bennett. Now Jones, thrown back down for McDavid, gives a little bit of a soft chase for Chuck. Now we'll chip this one in the corner. Skinner's getting serenaded. Now for Reinhart. For the right side, Tkachuk, one more pass. He's got his dancing shoes on after scoring a goal, and that's no surprise. Scoring goals gives you confidence. Picked up now the other way. One time, this is a 5-hole chance that gets blocked and expertly kept in by Seth Jones. Ekblad wants the one team near the right side dot, but that passing lane is blocked by Kapanen. near the right side red line. Barkov retrieves it, throws it back to the point. They do get it to Ekblad, and this one wired wide. They had McDavid there off the chase, and that pass was fortunate to not get stolen. Here's a chance and off the bumper. Rebound, Skinner behind him. Florida scores! Tkachuk again!
This is where the Oilers are in a bit of a danger zone. It's already 2-0 now, both times allowing goals on the power play. They were pushing the pace at 5-on-5. Sergei Bobrovsky at the answer. They go on another power. They go down a man again, and Oilers fans are upset because of the Walman high stick that wasn't called when Sam Bennett took that up high. But seriously, the Oilers, you can argue that they should have one power play now. This is upsetting, not from the Oilers standpoint, but as a neutral standpoint that you want fair officiating. Yes, Tkachuk had a yawning cage down low. He put that one away. And it's no surprise when you test Skinner, of course, good things happen.
Alec, I'm not going to disagree with any of your points, and I say that because I consider you gentlemen best of friends, and I mean that because we've worked a lot of games together. But I will say this as plain as I can. You are 100% correct about one of those ones that should have been a power play. I will grant you that. But it will not change this entire period in a vacuum right now. Edmonton has started this game, like with the second period of the series that have been, they are getting mollywopped right now. And you said in the open about Tkachuk, where's his breakout? He's already got 2 goals, and we still got 258 in the opening stanza.
These are the goals that lead you to regaining your confidence, as you said. The most dominant winger in the league has struck again, and we have more than 40 minutes to go here.
We'll see if anything changes. Again, we got a lot of intermission content to get to as far as trades, some league news, and all of that. It's going to be a good time with everyone here on the cast. And Alec, I thank you for joining me again. Hopefully, in the second period, you get some sort of reverse fortune if anyone's kind of rooting for the Oilers here. I know that I'm not, but I'm going to keep it neutral on the call. But for Tkachuk, I feel like I almost lost my voice a couple times, but he really needed those goals as he sent back around. Kulak off the chip. Cats, well, I said I don't think they're going to care here as Skinner now continues to get serenaded. But again, 2 goals against him. He's got no chance on either. If it's not for Skinner, it's already 2-0. But if it's not for Skinner, it would probably be 4 or 5.
Yeah, it would be. And Keith is here. He's happy that one of his sons is thriving here.
Yes, he is. Or someone's going to have to give him a big glass of red wine, and that is his drink of choice. As this will be a D-zone draw now for Forsling. Flip back down again. I think that's exactly what we'll get is another icing. 2 shots, 2 goals. When you're shooting 100%, you're feeling good. And that's what Tkachuk's got.
It will, yeah, as we said, we talked about how if Barkov finds his stride, it will be a nightmare for the Oilers. Well, Tkachuk is finding his stride. And with how they're, 10 players with at least 15 points on the Panthers? Well, that's a nightmare to think about if you're any opposing team.
And I'll say this as honest as I can, too, for Tkachuk. We talk about the lack of goal scoring in this series, and that's withstanding because it's true. But you look at his stats, still a goal-a-game player in the postseason, and those are the guys that get the biggest bucks, no doubt about it. Point-a-game players are the ones that drive the bus, and that's what he's always been. This will be fought off by Bobrovsky. Touch pass for Draisaitl for whatever reason. He was wide open in the middle of the slide. He didn't shoot. And this goes back now to Darnell Nurse in his own end. 150 left to go in the opening frame. Tkachuk's got 2 goals on 2 shots. Sent back around now for Bobrovsky. Edmonton's got to score here, and they got 1:40 left to do in the first frame. I really think they got to do it now. This is sent back here for Skinner. They'll slow it down to the left of the glass. Been chipped in deep now for Niko Mikkola. While for Genge actually to get the puck for a moment, for whatever reason, when Skinner made that pass, none of the Oilers went to go forecheck and go get it back in their own zone. Niko Mikkola now in his own end after taking a hit from Frederick. Henrique now trying to join in on the play. As this goes back from the point, it was fought off by Bobrovsky on the stand-up. Now he's in the butterfly near the right post. Settle back there around the boards. Frederick off the touch for Podkolzin, and Henrique pokes it toward the right side red line. Try to step through there was Henrique. He takes the hit. 55 seconds thereabouts left in the first. John out of here with you alongside Alec Nava. Got Ian Genge listening in. Reinhart, touch pass. Gets it back near the right side board. Smartly gains the red line. Gets his change for Paul Maurice's squad. This has been a perfect first period. And they're going to add to it. My goodness, what a pass. It's 3-0.
It's over. I don't care how this game goes out for the rest of this, for the rest throughout. I feel this is the moment the series is over.
What an unbelievable pass. That was Anton Lundell. Happy birthday. As we'll watch this one now toward the left side of the red line once the camera feed gets going. Cats in the middle of their change. And this is just turned over near the right sideline. Stecher lost the puck, and nobody picks up the front of the net. That is brutal. If you're the Oilers, they can't get out of their own way.
They just can't. This has been a funeral here. If game 3 was the funeral, this game is just more dirt onto the grave.
This is the bell tolling right now, Alec. And again, we still have one more game in this series, but the writing might be on the wall. And Cooper said this, and I jumped in. Again, whether or not one loss was bigger than just one game. We all saw the 6-1, and I think we all had the thought process, Alec, that it meant more than just one game. And that's what it looks like right now, because I said this to you in the open, and I'll let you jump in. All of those changes that Chris Knobloch made, I said it to you in the open. I felt like he was grasping at straws. I mean, he's moved the entire lineup around, and that's got to mess up all sorts of cohesion.
It felt that way. When you have Connor Brown playing first line minutes, the problem here isn't about Connor Brown or Corey Perry. You're asking too much of depth, guys, but that's especially the case. And he had no choice because Zach Hyman's out for the year. The moment that Hyman was lost, there was a general feeling, oof.
And then not only that, is this ends the first period. Again, Lundell, he might have the kill shot. We're not seeing any pushing and shoving just yet. So thankfully all that's done. But we mentioned this too. You talk about Hyman. With RNH's injury, he's out there right now, Alec, but he looks like a ghost.
Ooh, that is ouchies.
So that's the end of the first 20 minutes. Again, who's to say there'll be more intrigue in the NBA Finals than the Stanley Cup Finals? But that is what we have after one. I'm going to give it a quick reset, and then we'll get into the intermission conversations. So we pull up this box. It's all Cats. And I think a shot on the power play from Alex Barkov. And then again, we talk about the lack of games. Kachuk, again, 2 goals, 2 shots from Reinhart and Barkov. Barkov's already got 2 points, so it speaks into both of Alex Nair. Anton Lundell, inconceivably, from the change from Reinhart. Verhaeghe just gets Lundell wide open in front. And it's 3-0 Florida. Bobrovsky only has to go 7-7. Stuart Skinner, hang out to dry is not strong enough at this point for Stu. 14-17. This game could easily be 6-0. You could double that at this point, if not for Stuart Skinner. Shots are 17-7, hits 11-5. Face-offs tied at 13. Cats 2 or 3 on the power play. Yes, the Oilers should have one on a high stick against Walman. They did not get one. Cats 2 or 3 on the power play. Oilers do not have anything. Now, I know Cooper's not in on the broadcast, but I had just a quick note on the Flames, and then we'll get into big news of the day. So, didn't get a chance to talk about this a few weeks ago when it broke. But Calgary Flames continue to add strong contracts to Matthew Coronado. He's just 22 years of age. He inks a 7-year extension at $45.5 million. That's 6.5 until 2032. That's 8 years. And then also, for Coronado's numbers, 77 games played, 24 goals, 23 assists, 47 points, plus 6 on a team that was dead last in goal scoring. That's excellent production with a good cap hit. And they also retain Adam Klopka, 2 years, 1.25. I know he's known for the hits and the face punches and all of that, but he becomes an RFA with Flames rights in 2028. So those are good there. My only other quick outlook, and then I'll throw it to Alec. The only other ones I see is Morgan Frost, Kevin Ball, Connor Zary as RFAs. And I just want to add that the Flames also have $27 million in cap space during the upcoming season. That is with Kadri, Huberdeau, and Uyghur still signed. And the Flames right now aren't even at the minimum cap floor. So Craig Conroy, good job.
Yes, good job for Craig Conroy in getting the foundation set. What is needed is goal scoring. I feel that there needs to be an X factor on the team when it comes to goal scoring. Who will they pick up at free agency, or are they going to continue building on the already established young core? I feel that they can continue establishing that young core.
I mean, fellas, or at least I've talked about how this free agency class is not that attractive when it comes to top free agents, but maybe, I don't know, maybe there is a guy that the Flames would be willing to sign simply because that player fits their scheme perfectly.
You could do that, Ian, as you said, and you also, as Alec mentioned, could stay the course. If that's the case for whatever the Flames do, they also got Dustin Wolf behind them. I think this is a team like the Red Wings. I keep saying that they're in that same portion of their rebuild and are in a good spot. I'm interested to see, again, I will lay that across for Cooper and see if I can get his thoughts at some point when he does come back. The big news of the day, we knew going into the notes from yesterday that Chris Kreider of the New York Rangers, the trade was imminent. Now, the move supposedly was happening before we were even going to go on the air. We were just waiting it to be approved by the man himself and Kreider to the Anaheim Ducks. So Kreider, 34 years of age, coming off a career low, which was tied in 20 and 21. That's 22 goals, 8 assists, 30 points, and a -5 in 68 games played. There was 2 years left on a 6.5 of 45.5 until 2027. Now, in my notes, I mentioned this admittedly, the Ducks could absorb all of the deal easily, as they still have $38 million in cap space, but we'll see what the sweetener will be. Turns out, the sweetener is the New York Rangers move up 15 picks in this year's draft. They get a prospect on the low end and Kerry Terrence in a third this year, but that entire contract for Chris Drury is being swallowed up by Pat Verbeek and the Ducks.
So it all comes crashing down. The Rangers, they want to go on a retool here. They started off with Jacob Trouba, and after a dramatic season in the worst possible ways, Kreider joins a Ducks team that already has 3 of his former Ranger teammates. Trouba, Ryan Strome, and Frank Vetrano, who was partially on the Rangers in the back half of the 2022 season. Kreider is said by Verbeek, he said, Kreider's the type of player we were looking to add this offseason. He has size, speed, and is a clutch performer that elevates his game in big moments. Chris also upgrades both our special teams units, something we really need to address. Now, this also adds to the staple what the Ducks are trying to bring. An already established core. The other part is, what do you do with Mason McTavish? The obvious part is re-signing him because he's an RFA this offseason. I don't think he's going anywhere. The core is already set with this young core. Leo Carlson, McTavish, Cutter Gauthier, Pavel Mintyukov, Jackson Lacombe, Owen Zellweger already look good. They also have a solid netminder on the rise in Lucas Dostal. We wonder where John Gibson's going to go. I feel it's in the Ducks' best interest to not only trade him, but also we're wondering when Trevor Zegras is going to get moved. This move isn't to complement it. This move not only is to upgrade the core, but Kreider is not just getting brought in to help Zegras and his revival. He's there to replace Zegras, in my opinion. This move all but signals that Zegras is on his way out of Anaheim. Where he goes is anyone's guess. But my best options may be, I would think, Colorado if they trade Charlie Coyle, Minnesota, maybe even Montreal, but who knows?
If I'm Montreal, Alec, I just want to say this honestly. I'm not touching Trevor Zegras. I like what I got over there. It's not to say that Zegras isn't a good player. He's fallen off from grace over the last few years. Whether or not it's coaching, whether or not he just doesn't fit anymore in Anaheim. But if I'm Montreal, I stay far away from it.
I would feel get him to somewhere where he can actually get himself going, because he's fallen off a cliff over the last few years. He used to be the cover athlete of one of the EA NHL games.
Yes.
We talk of the Madden curse. This is the Chell curse that we're speaking of. Yikes.
That's the biggest hex of all time. With injuries notwithstanding, they pretty much made him a disappearing act like a carton of milk. The Blue Shirts aren't done. They have put Keandre Miller on the trade block. Alec and I have talked about him precipitously at times. I still believe the 25-year-old is a solid top 4 D-man. He's been healthy. That's the one thing for Keandre Miller. I can't argue. He's been an Iron Man. 7 goals, 20 assists, 27 points in 74 games played. I still think that he can get to the 45 to 50-point plateau because this season for the Rangers has been a soap opera. I think that's taken down some of his production. And one more thing before we close, and then I'll get Alec's thoughts as far as Blue Shirts. Alexei Lafreniere, do you remember he's still just 23 years of age, the former #1 pick in the COVID lottery bowls? Is just now entering his 7-year, $52.15 million deal. That's a heavy cap hit. It's not horrible at 7.45, but his production hasn't been there. The contract ends by the time he turns 30. Interesting enough, as we mentioned with Matt Coronado, that's at the same age, but Coronado's at 6.5. and Lafreniere's at 7.45. There is a question of who would you rather have, but Drury does say this. He's open to conversations due to the New York Rangers cap constraints, but the value would have to be serious. Non-serious teams need not apply. He has not really exploded talking about Lafreniere, topping out around 45 points per season, but he has only missed 4 calendar games in the last 4 seasons.
And there are a lot of questions where has to go between the RFA market. Not just Keandre Miller, we're also speaking on the terms of Bowen Byram, JJ Peterka. I feel that Buffalo wants to add a right shot defenseman to the roster because Byram's a left shot defenseman. He's on RFA, in which he's going to get talked about heavily in the RFA market. I don't imagine offer sheets, but if Buffalo wants to look at right shot defenseman, one popular name that we're looking after in the right shot defenseman market is Rasmus Andersson among right shot defensemen on the trade block. Aaron Ekblad's a free agent, but I feel Florida's more likely to lose Sam Bennett than Aaron Ekblad, if anything.
If you saw, again, I don't want to disrupt any of Alec's points. If you just saw what they shown on the TV side of the screen for TNT, I'm talking about the guy that pats people down to throw the tickets, where it's just imprecipitous and lets them right in. They mentioned that's the caption of the Oilers trying to...
Oh, no. Man, that is painful.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna throw more dirt onto their grave. Fellas, I can honestly say that I put more energy into going to get Culver's for my mom tonight than the Oilers have put in all night for this day.
I agree with you. Yeah, and I bet you have.
Oh.
Now, to your point, about who the New York Rangers could get, I gotta be honest, fellas. The move they should have made immediately was get rid of Chris Drury.
Yes.
With all of the drama that happened, I can't believe I'm saying this. This is the one time where Rangers fans would have wanted James Dolan to be like he was with the Knicks for all those years. Like, dude, this time we actually need you to be meddlesome and hands-on and firing people on a whim, because this time it's justified.
You're not wrong. I'm thinking the same thing as I said to Alec the other day. I know you guys have had conversations. I'm sure you've been around the NBA Finals and all that, but talk about the same way for Don Sweeney and the Boston Bruins. I put Chris Drury already in that category. You got 2 GMs that really can't get out of their own way, and they're making moves just to make moves, and they're doing things that are making players angry. I mean, let's not mince words here. A lot of players would do whatever they could to play for a team like the New York Rangers in Original Six, but because Chris Drury's there, if he calls me, I'm not picking up the phone.
Yeah, people are actively wanting to. If this continues onwards, players are going to cross out the Rangers from the list of destinations they want to play at. That this is becoming ugly now. And as long as Chris Drury's there, this saga's not ending anytime soon.
I have one last quick hit for you, and then I have some news alongside the hockey guy. If anyone doesn't follow him on the YouTube side, make sure that you do. So the quick hit is Nick Hague will be moved. Again, Alec mentioned that a little bit in the pregame there for the Vegas Golden Knights. They're going to try to get some salary cap relief. But the one instance where they will not get salary cap relief is Wild Bill. They've let everyone know that Will Karlsson is staying put. I like it, though, for Vegas because he's been instrumental to everything that they've done. I'd like to see him stay in Vegas.
Yeah, I would. Don't risk losing your core players in attempts to go after Mitch Marner. I know Marner's a hot free agent out there, but I feel he's more likely to secure a bag somewhere. I don't know if it's with Chicago, with Detroit, with Utah, maybe even with the Islanders in that case, even though they just signed Kyle Palmieri this offseason to a 2-year deal, $4.75 million per. But even so, don't break up the core that was already established. Though, in fairness, a lot of players on Vegas had career years. Though, if you want to continue building on that, I think you should.
I agree with you. And I'll say one last thing here as far as the news of the day for NHL, and then we'll leave some of the other points for second intermission as far as the awards. I want to get to those. Then we got a tearjerker there as well in the second intermission off the toss-up, and it'll be a lot of fun. But for the latest CBA extension, collective bargaining agreement, could be concluded at the latest Board of Governors meeting, set for Wednesday, June 25th. And again, I mentioned this a couple of times in the mix of the salary cap going up about $7 million over the next 3 seasons. That likely means to me that if the salary cap continues to move north, that the lockout, probably not going to have to worry about that, but they're assuming that it's going to get done. I'm hearing rumors. Again, I won't try to speak to all the rumors, but they're talking about maybe getting a franchise back in Atlanta and trying to get that dictated. But as far as lockout and CBA extension, that should be all done by Wednesday, June 25th. That's what they're saying. We're going to get the major talks in.
If we're talking expansion, of course, Atlanta's going to be the hot place to think about because ownership wants to bring it there. Houston all but seems near inevitable at this point in terms of expansion. Though if we're going to go to, say, 36 teams, you have to include one at each division. Atlanta would be more or less a Metro Division team. Houston, Central. If we're going to add one over at the Atlantic, you think of Quebec City. Of course, that's going to be the first option to choose from. The Pacific, probably Portland in that regard.
That could be interesting. I do wonder, and alongside for the Quebec Nordiques and then the Colorado Avalanche, with the way that all happened in the 90s and all that, because remember, they started with like Owen Nolan and Joe Sakic and some of those other big players, Forsberg before they get relocated and all of that. I wonder at some point, talking out loud, if the Nordiques get a franchise back.
Everyone would love to see that because the Quebec Nordiques were such an iconic franchise before relocating to Colorado to become the Avalanche. Those years of Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg. Fun fact, Patrice Bergeron grew up idolizing the Nordiques. He got his first career playoff goal, at least playoff overtime goal, against a team he loved to hate, the Montreal Canadiens.
Again, Alec always bringing the news and notes there, and alongside that, I really appreciate that. Alec, it's a good stat. Let's look at this, because you guys got to give me your thoughts. I haven't got a chance to watch the NBA Finals too much, but I look at the score line, and I look at what happened in the fourth quarter. 32-18 advantage for the Pacers. They win 116-107 and go up 2-1 in a series in which I only thought they might win one game. They're up 2-1 in this series after Game 3. What do you gentlemen say? Are the Thunder in trouble, or are they going to be able to still find a way to win this series? It's just going to take longer than expected.
Shea, for the Thunder to win, Shea needs to break his personal playoff threat. And what I mean by that is, on First Things First today, they put up a graphic highlighting Shea's stats during these playoffs. In the first 2 games of every series, he has been dominant. He has been the MVP of the league. And then, but for the rest of the series, he cools off. I mean, and the other thing is, in the second game of the series, we found out that he is turnover prone, as he had 24 points, but he had 8 turnovers to accompany that. And the thing is, now, one thing I will say, I don't think the Pacers bench is going to go for 20 plus,
right,
or for the rest of the series. But and this is the big one.
Oh boy.
If the obviously the starters for the Thunder need to do their job, but the bench needs to come up big. If you remember during the season, what was it about the Thunder that made everyone so scared? It was the fact that they had the reputation and the look of a complete team, meaning their starters go on the bench, and while there may be a slight difference in production, there is in fact, there was nothing really obvious about the drop-off. And in this series, however, there aren't that many efficient runs from the OKC Thunder bench that I've seen. And that right there is a problem.
Alec, you got a development as we take over here. You got the play-by-play. Kelvin Pickard's in net.
And this is a curveball. His net was dislodged in the meantime, but that was after Jeff Skinner had a breakaway, and Sergei Bobrovsky robbed him blind time and time again. Play was not stopped at any point because Pickard's net was dislodged. Where was it when the net was dislodged?
I guess at least if you're the Oilers, you didn't get that power play call as you talked about from the first, but they gave him the play the other way, which is good to see. But as you said, Officer Bob, he's been on the case. That's a good stop at the right pad.
He's played 1,078 career regular season games before making his playoff debut, the longest streak in NHL history of all time, with the most games played in the NHL in the regular season without a playoff appearance. Some Cats fans want a penalty. They thought that the Cats got tripped. No hand is up in the air. This puck got deflected up. Moved up front for Brett Kulak as he's skating down the strip. And this is a long shot, easily turned away by Big Bob.
And I'm wondering, again, now that Chris Knobloch has gone to Pickard, again, if it wasn't for Skinner, this game could easily be 6-0. But that's what I thought to start the game, as we talk about in the open. That you go with Pickard and at least force you to play with eyes in the back of your head, not try to do too much, make sure you don't let the game get away from you. I think if you play with Stuart Skinner there, in all respect to him, the Oilers probably play a little bit too much offense, and they play a little bit loosey-goosey, and they were subjugated in that first period, and now they got to see what happened in the second, because they need to completely reverse this.
Offside against the Panthers. Seth Jones was way out to receive this pass from Anton Lundell.
Yeah, he was. And again, as we talk about in the second period throughout this series, that has not been the strength of the Edmonton Oilers, and that is an understatement. For Chris Knobloch, I'm not going to say he's a bad coach. I don't think anyone will when you make back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. This is the roster, is it him, and this and that. I just didn't like the amount of lineup changes that they made. I think the only thing that they needed to make the adjustment on, Alec, was focus and play their game. But right now, they have left it in Rogers' place. They can't find it in Sunrise.
Florida scored 12 of the last 14 goals of this series. As this one deflected up and out of play. All of a sudden, I'm getting all the whistles here, John. What is happening?
Yes, you are. Again, from the open, I apologize for that, for your first minute of play-by-play in the mix. But yeah, you're getting all the whistles. I had some of those ones before. We saw some camera shots in that first period of some of the Florida kids that are asleep, but it looks like the Oilers are the team that's asleep.
Oh, I guess they were paying homage to those kids at the front.
Yeah, this is ugly with a capital U.
And we're not sure what comes next. Easy answer is to trade Darnell Nurse in the offseason, knowing the cap crunch that's about to come, given his $9.25 million cap hit. Who knows if someone's going to take him, but I feel the Oilers may have no choice if they want to keep Jake Walman and most of the band around. Up front, the near side, Nate Schmidt moves this one up for the far side. As wacky it is, Jonah Gadjevich taking the number 12 from Eric Stahl, who wore the number 12 in 2023 for the Florida Panthers. He was part of the team that eliminated the team that his number was long retired with now, the Carolina Hurricanes. They hold a banner-raising ceremony in a game against the Anaheim Ducks for Stahl, who retired to number 12. Near side, Aaron Ekblad going to the far side. Matthew Tkachuk can't find Evan Rodriguez. Seth Jones battling to keep this one in, but is whacked out by Kane for Draisaitl. The pass across was deflected and lands onto Jones. If Florida wins the Stanley Cup, you'd imagine that he would get the first handoff from Sasha Barkov after Sergei Bobrovsky had the first handoff last year before Kyle Okposo went off to the sunset, hoisting the Stanley Cup. Near side will be grabbed by Jake Walman. Walman goes rink wide and be sent up towards Corey Perry. Touch pass, extra one, here it comes, Bouchard! And that one, I don't know if Bouchard scored here or if there's going to be a penalty or a penalty shot in the process.
It's going to be a penalty against Florida. We'll see what more we get. That's all I got for you.
And if you're an Oilers fan, you got to be saying, oh, so now you call a penalty.
Yeah, again, Alec, I can't disagree with the logic there. It's just they need so much more. Bouchard now off the rush. As this one gets blown off the glass, he just missed the shot.
It was Sam Bennett who took him down from behind the slash, prevent that one. Though I don't know what Bennett was supposed to do.
Yeah, you want to make sure you don't get any bad habits from Game 4 last year. I know that was 8-1. We're not going to get that now from where it is. But when the Oilers start getting open space to work with, that's when they're at their best. Can't give them too many of those, even though you're up 3.
They've been horrendous at 5-on-5 at Sunrise. They've been limited to 1 goal in most of those games. Nugent-Hopkins open look, and he scores! So finally, the dry spell has been broken. They get on the board, but now they need 2 more.
Yeah, that looked really easy. Again, as we just talked about in the mix of Bennett, you don't want to give up those and get opportunities. Somebody that's got an RNH jersey is pretty happy about that, as they should be, because that was about as easy as you like.
It's easy setup pass towards the front. Leon Draisaitl finding the open RNH at the slot, just finding a little bit of space, and top shelf he elevates it. The interesting part was that there were 2 Panthers at the slot. I thought this pass was partially deflected too.
My only criticism, I think that's the first time I'm going to say this in this series for Bob. It looks like he went down to try to get a sight line instead of stand up. If he stood up there, he probably blocks that shot. He went down, and it gave Ryan Nugent-Hopkins a chance to lift it up to the top of the left crossbar.
Bob rarely gets beat low, John. So the main thing for the Oilers is that to test him high. That's his weakness.
Well, clearly they picked up something on that, as you've been talking about, because he went to go try to track the puck. I think he kind of made the wrong read, and that allowed RNH to pretty much essentially snipe an open net.
Even Vezina Trophy winners and Bobrovsky, who I said is the modern-day Patrick Waugh, he's not immune from any sort of weaknesses. Vasilevsky, Walker's side, that's the weakness. From deep, as this was stopped by Pickard. From the left circle be poked away by Ekholm. The Oilers got 1, they need 2 more. Bennett just out the box after the Oilers scored on a power play. RNH from Draisaitl and McDavid. Henrique gets picked apart. Up the far boards, Trent Frederick stymied by Bennett. Frederick tried to keep it in. This puck bounces down. It'll be collected by the Cats. Up the far boards, it'll be sent around the horn. Pickard plays this one out towards Nurse. Plays this towards center. Grabbed by Skinner. Moving up is McDavid. He gets picked apart by Seth Jones. Jones will twist this one around to the far half boards, where it's grabbed by Florida. Mikula bounces this one behind the end boards, where it is Darnell Nurse now. Paired back next to Brett Kulak as Chris Knobloch made the line changes. Nurse waits. I don't know if this is going to be his last series as an Edmonton Oiler, but who knows? He has a no movement clause though. Mikla, stick lifted by Connor Brown. Barkov's also there. McDavid picks it up. He'll twist this one back towards the right point. Bouchard loads up, fires, stopped by Big Bob. Kulak can't hold his own. Grabbing it is Bouchard off the queer. Bouchard goes near side for R&H. Nugent-Hopkins moves it for McDavid. McDavid gets the stick knocked off of him. Connor Brown on the keep. This one bounced up and around, held inside by Nugent-Hopkins. Bouchard, Kulak, fires one, deflected up! Oh, Bobrovsky made a good seeing eye stop there. On the deflection, the Oilers now controlling the second period shots on goal. This time it's a Uno reverse card from what we saw in the first 3 games of this series. That's the Oilers controlling the play in the second and not the Panthers. Oh, strange times it is. Bouchard had it knocked away by Brad Marchand. Mr. Rat King as it is. Walman picks it up. He'll escape from his own zone and looks towards the near side. Finds Draisaitl, twisting and turning around Lundell. Moves coast to coast. Slowed down once by Forsling. Draisaitl places out for Perry. Along the near half boards, it's now scooped up by Florida as it's taken away. Aaron Ekblad around the near side. Picked up by the Panthers. The Oilers get to them. Walman from behind the net. Left it for Draisaitl as he moves it up through the far boards. Draisaitl moves it up front for Podkolzin. Podkolzin surveys. It is knocked away by Kulak and gets ran right into. There's a stick on the way at that far corner. The Oilers holding the zone. Podkolzin. There's a penalty coming up. This is going to go against Florida again, so the Oilers back to the power play.
Unbelievable. I was going to say, if you want to maybe lose a step, don't lose the whole mile, and maybe make the comparison between being up 3-0 and then getting blown out 8-1. You know, the Panthers are in a good spot. They're up by 3 goals. You start this second period, and all of a sudden you give up a couple of penalties. And I didn't see what it was on admittedly because the camera shots hadn't shown it just yet. Looks like there was a battle at the net, and that's what's going to end up getting called. We'll get more clarification in a moment as we go to break, but this should be disappointing mildly, at least for the Cats, because you played so well in the first. You don't want to give it all away. It's not even 7 minutes expired in the middle frame.
And I thought the game and series were over at this point. Well, to quote Jaylen Brown, I know the Oilers may be having this mindset. Don't let us get one. And I think that same mindset has to be kept here. You should not let the Oilers get any sort of life in a game in which you are firmly controlling.
No, you don't want to see that. And this becomes all of a sudden, I can't believe I'm saying this, a very monumental penalty kill here for the Cats. Because you don't want to put yourself in a situation where the third period is great teeth. You kind of enjoy the victory lap that was Game 3. You work so hard into it, you kind of want to lean that into Game 4. And the one thing I'll say about Paul Maurice's squad, they were here last year in terms of that completely turning around. So they know once you start making mistakes, things can change quickly. So they got to lock this down and kill the penalty.
For Maurice's former team, one of his former players that he coached over at Winnipeg, this is a special case because for the first time in a decade, we have our first Hart and Vezina duo to win it. Connor Hellebuyck not only wins the Vezina, but also the Hart Trophy. And safe to say, he played even better than he did last season. So it's well deserved for him.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that a goalie can get that much hardware, but that's how good he was. Playoffs notwithstanding, as it's been for him, those are regular season awards. And I think the one thing that Alec mentioned before, if you just give him a little bit more of a break in the regular season, that might be enough to keep him sharp by the time you get to the post.
Probably Jake Allen would help wonders here in the offseason if they were to move on from Eric Comrie as the backup goaltender. You remember, Allen does have experience in the playoffs. Off the face-up, it is won by the Cats, but it quickly comes to Perry. Towards the left point, Bouchard walks. As Barkov might have fallen down, he got back up. Bouchard wheeling it around onto the right point, where it is picked up and mishandled by McDavid. Knocked loose, and McDavid will pick it up at his own zone. Sam Reinhart all over him. He was the runner-up to Barkov in the Selke Trophy voting. His game grew here in Florida after he got traded from Buffalo. At that right point, Draisaitl wants to survey ahead. Bouchard knocks it deep. towards the far corner, and then back it goes to him. Bouchard waits, fakes a slapper, goes to McDavid. Hello, Draisaitl, one-timer! Bobrovsky held his own. That sharp angle shot from the bottom of the right circle is one that Draisaitl loves on the power play.
Yeah, he's got to have that, and it looks like, as you said, Bobrovsky was already in position anticipating that. Again, you would expect that for the amount of times that these teams have seen each other. Good save, much needed, one near the right post for Big Bob.
A slight opening right past the outstretched stick of Aaron Ekblad.
Yes, it was. And we have to be mindful of that as the Oilers continue to do work on their power play.
His face-off to the right circle. Draisaitl doing work against Barkov. This time it is the Panthers winning it. Nico Mikko trying to clear. Just held inside by Bouchard. From the high slot, this will go to McDavid. Down low, Draisaitl holds it. Now comes back out. Bouchard, a clapper. And Big Bob ready for that. The shot clock hits 93.
Interesting on the Sportsnet side that I see shot attempts per game in the 2025 playoffs. He's up to about 14 a game against the Panthers. So he's really letting it fly in comparison to all the other series. It's Bouch bombs.
All around the ice, especially on the power play. That's his 8th shot on the power play. He has yet to score on a man advantage in this series. The Oilers' false start on the faceoff. So Draisaitl is going to be tossed out for McDavid.
We're going to have to get a chance now for Corey Perry to take a draw.
This is interesting because I thought that Perry is normally a winger. He's not one that I would normally see taking faceoffs. Well, it's McDavid, actually. It is Perry, wacky away at it, but it erroneously comes back out all the way to the Edmonton zone. Pickard way out of the net, and it just gets by the open Panther. Oh my goodness, that almost was one of those moments. And now here's a partial break for what I believe was one of the Panthers. Pickard turns it away. Not a lot of space for Brad Marchand to shoot at. He did have some breakaway goals here and there in Game 2. So McDavid finds RNH. This is going to be interesting. Deflected! Bobrovsky holds firm. And I was wondering if the Panthers are going to challenge it for an offside. If this were to be a goal, wipe that away from your memories.
RNH with a tip play out in front, a drive-by for Corey Perry, another good stop for Bobrovsky. You got to give the Oilers credit here. It looks like they've completely reversed that first period so far. They still got 37 seconds left in the man advantage. I think they've given them an extra second as we get another do-over on the draw.
And if Brad Marchand touches up on that puck, that would have been disaster for the Oilers because Calvin Pickard wants to get this to an open man, but with Marchand racing up front, hoof, Maron.
Yeah, you can't have that. You take it away.
There's McDavid on this face-off. Perry helps him out on the draw. Bouchard towards the left. RNH goes down low for McDavid. McDavid goes right by. McDavid surveys, goes to Bouchard, back to McDavid. Draisaitl waits. He sends one towards the net. Blocked in front. It'll be collected by Florida. 20 on the man advantage, and already we're going to see the changes going. Chris Knobloch is not one to shy away from double shifting his top power play. We saw that time and time again in the latter 2 rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs in the West Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals against the same teams in which Edmonton faced this year in the Stanley Cup Final in the latter rounds. Flashing a letter from Bobrovsky out the long shot from Walman. Kept inside by Henrique as this is battled for along the left side. Kulak out the box, but it's held in by Walman. Kane along the near side half boards. Stecher's also there. This is whacked away by the Cats, and they'll exit out with possession. Reinhart waits, but this will be flung around the end boards. Reinhart collected at the far corner. It'll be Barkov centering up, but this is broken up. And here is Kane away from Rodriguez. Jeff Skinner waits with this from the right point. Skinner can't find the open man. It's collected up by the Cats along the far corner. Shots were firmly controlled by the Panthers here, entering the second period, but now the Oilers have controlled this second period. A turn of events here, wildly so. Nurse waits. Will deliver along the far half boards. Kulak wants to get it out. A jumping, leaping keep by the Oilers and a quick shot. Went off a stick and out of play. And so we'll get a stoppage here with 10:36 left in the second period. Alec Navajon not with you.
Yeah, Bobrovsky off the glove hand just barely gets a piece from the point, as you said. Shot attempt still 37-29 for the Cats, but that shot board, you've been talking about it. Shots on goal now within 2 for the Oilers. this really has been a turnaround because the shots this period are 9-1 for the Oil.
That just doesn't seem real. I thought the Panthers were supposed to be controlling the second period. We're seeing an Uno reverse card here. If the Oilers were to pull off this comeback, I feel it starts with this second period. But they need to play the rest of this period like the way they're doing now. And that especially has to be emphasized at 5-on-5 because at Sunrise, it's been horrendous at 5-on-5. Bouncing puck is collected by Brett Kulak. Hunted down and collected by Mikkola, the former Ranger and Blue. Up the far boards. Settled down by Verhaeghe. Out of the reach of Bennett. Paul Maurice made the change to swap Rodriguez and Verhaeghe on the lineup. And either way, you would not be wrong with that. Mikkola sent it up the penalty box side for Jones. Jones re-enters. Jones turns it over to Perry inexplicably, but several stick whacks in the way. It's kept in by Tkachuk on hat-trick watch. Pickard at the initial stop. He covers up the rebound and was had a silver platter for Verhaeghe, and Tkachuk shake his head.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, as you mentioned with Jones. I'm not sure what ghost he was looking at throwing the puck. He gave right to the Oilers. Good couple stick chops there for the Cats to get it back. Big save there for Pickard. That was badly needed. His team is starting to push things the other way, which we've been talking about and waiting for. I guess the one thing I will give them complete credit for, Alec, again, it's a second period differential, which shocks all of us. But I think we can really see at this point in the series with the potentially being a 3-1 swing, the Oilers are sensing the moment and fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah, it's strange to believe that we thought that revenge was going to be coming here. It didn't seem that way early here in this series. And the Oilers, of course, they got that win in part of that Tomas Nosek delay of game penalty in Game 1 of this finals. Do you think that the Panthers, this is a battle-tested team? Great teams find ways to bounce back. And the Panthers, they've shown that they're the class of the league. And what else is out the equation that if they were to win the Stanley Cup this year, we could realistically see them repeating next year. If they lose Bennett, who cares? They have Mackie Samoskevich next up.
That would be a very difficult loss, but I think they do have enough depth, Alec, to at least make things very interesting. I do think losing Bennett might stop them from winning the Cup again. I'll be completely honest with you, but you're right. The cap casualties and crunches are part of the ball game. I think it'd be hard even for the Panthers to keep everybody. They reset in this period the 6 from RNH from Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, so they both get on the point spectrum when they didn't have it the other day. Dmitry Kulikov hold the stick against Vasily Podkolzin from the Sam Bennett slash against Bouchard. The Sam Bennett penalty is the one that gave the Oilers the power play goal.
And that's where we stand right now. It's 3-1 Panthers. The Oilers in control of this game. Paul Maurice, the third coach in NHL history to win 1,000 career games split between regular season and postseason combined. Off this faceoff, it'll be the Oilers in control. RNH got shoved. No breakout for Trent Frederick. That was actually Matthias Janmark, not Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Near the Oiler bench, it'll be picked up by Edmonton. Mattias Ekholm slaps this one around from the near side. Tomas Nosek hunted down along the far half boards. Cuts back out for Jonah Gadjevich. This takes a bounce right onto the stick of Frederick, but it knocked away from him. Frederick gets this one back to the open Nurse. Threw one towards the net. But if we were to keep this one open, why not go across the ice? And this one, not out. Some Panthers fans wanted to go for this puck. Flucked it up. Adam Henrique was there for deflection, but Bobrovsky turned it away. This will be all the way back to the Edmonton zone and collected at the near corner by Nurse. 9:05 left in this middle frame. The Oilers have control of the shots on goal. 7-1 the second period chances. The low one belonging to Verhaeghe with the Panthers. As McDavid is blasted by Lostarina but picks up the puck. McDavid coast to coast towards the far side out the reach of Connor Brown. Forsling hunting it down. Held inside by RNH. Forsling with a hold of it. He gets his one back out to center, or it's grabbed by Walman. Jake Walman going across the ice, and he gets it back. Walman fanned on it. Here's a chance for the Panthers. Oh, Pickard! He turns away one down off the mishandle.
Man, it was like Jake Walman was handing out free cookies at the shelter. He throws one up here for Lindell and Pickard. That's an absolute robbery, considering the way Edmonton's played in the second period. If Pickard doesn't make that saves, this comeback might be donezo, but it keeps them on life support.
Oh, this was one the Oilers needed to have. If Calvin Pickard were to make that save, of course, that keeps the Oilers a hold of this play. And if Pickard manages to rally the Oilers from down 3-1 to a win here, we could have a very interesting discussion for who starts in Game 5. We'll have yet to see here, though, as we have a face-off incoming as Draisaitl wins it back with help from Walman. Not out, though, as Jones kept it in. Wendell was the fourth player in NHL history to appear in 75 career playoff games before turning 24 years old. Happy birthday to this fella. Here's Kane as he tries to dance right by, and he delivers a big hit. Seth Jones actually got him out flat-footed as Kane was on his last gasp. Kapanen picks it up. His father Sammy played a Stanley Cup Final for the Carolina Hurricanes in 2002. It'll be Erod Evan Rodriguez, one of two former Penguins playing in this year's final, the other being Kapanen. Last year's former Penguin was Cody Ceci. Up at the left point, it is Schmidt, a blast on Kulikov, and shut down by Pickard.
I'm going to answer your narrative in one way that I only can, Alec, in the mix for Chris Knobloch. If the Oilers do come back to win this game, Calvin Pickard's going to have the net for the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, I feel that same way. That if Pickard wins this one, just give him the nets for the rest of the playoffs. Because this is unprecedented that we're seeing if the Oilers do manage to get this one all the way. But the Panthers rarely blow these leads.
We'll see what we get now, because if the Oilers can find a way to get one more, that would make things interesting. I think they need another one.
They do. 7:38 left in the second period. Alec Navajana, Ian Genge with you. Here's a 2-on-1. Skinner gets shut down on the breakout pass. It was intended for Adam Henrique up front. Ekholm on the keep over to Darnell Nurse. Nurse across the ice. Schmidt floated this one wide over towards the far corner, where Skinner is getting manhandled. Along the far out boards is kept in by Edmonton. Ekholm to Nurse. Nurse looks. He scores! There's the goal you pointed out, John. Darnell Nurse, far side. And don't go anywhere. The Oilers aren't.
Is that the biggest goal of Darnell Nurse's career? I want to see this now as Ekholm. We'll get this to the left side dot for Nurse. I want to see this shot lane. He roofs it from the top of the left circle over Bobrovsky's head as Skinner is holding on to Kulikov's stick. Now I would say we're even on both sides as Skinner's to say, thank you very much, I'll take the goal. I think we're even on both sides as far as penalties that should have been called now.
Well, now it's all fair game. Always love and always fair in love and war, isn't it?
It is now, and now we're going to have an opportunity for development here. I'll let you jump in.
It's 3-2 as Ryan Nugent-Hopkins jumps down to the near corner. This has been very interesting. The Oilers think that the Panthers have committed the way of game penalty and was fired above the glass. Is Alexander Barkov going to the box? He is! Oh my goodness, John! We're seeing the light!
The light is opening and the door is already ajar, my friend. Again, I remember, I'm not going to point fingers at you. You said the series was done after the first period. And honestly, I was right there with you. But the Oilers, they've put their foot down. And honestly, they're keeping things clean. And they're just playing the game, right? They got a couple breakaways in this period. Didn't score on both of them or whatnot. But they're getting chances and they're moving up the ice. It's not complicated.
Yeah, Adam Henrique was turned away in a breakout when Jeff Skinner had his pass blocked towards him. But Darnell Nurse says, thank you very much. But remember, shot placement. Go towards the high areas if you're Edmonton. Bouchard fakes the slapper. McDavid, too far for him. Perry keeps it for Edmonton. He's hounded by Forsling and Ekblad. McDavid spins it towards the far side. Bouchard, this goes past everyone. Perry goes to McDavid one more time. From the near corner, RNH will survey. Soft shot. This one stopped by Bobrovsky. McDavid spins. Goes to RNH. Draisaitl swing and a miss on the shot. Bouchard waits. Will go to Nugent-Hopkins. He'll survey back to Bouchard. Doesn't unleash the Bouch bomb. Excellent puck movement here by the Oilers as they're forcing the Panthers to work. Bouchard will skate this one over towards McDavid, and now it's Bouchard towards the far side. Draisaitl waits. It's Bouchard with a long blast. 93 on the shot. never tested Bob. McDavid sets up towards the foot, front timer, Bobrovsky to save. It's picked up on the rebound by the Oilers. Bouchard towards RNH. Now back for Bouchard. He'll load up wide, bouncing puck, swept away by Ekblad. Clear but not out as Nugent-Hopkins, excellent keep along the near half boards. Draisaitl walks around Ekblad, going towards McDavid. Back towards Bouchard, 45 on the power play. Danuge going down low for Corey Perry. He has 9 goals this postseason. Spinning pass, not out. All they need to shoot for RNH. Backhander, sailed over the net. Chance to clear last for the Panthers, and finally they get it out all the way to the Oilers zone. 7 comeback wins this postseason for the Oilers. The most. McDavid walks by. Oh, Bobrovsky! How did he get that? Oh my!
I'm looking at the replay now, Alec. Tremendous calls on your part. Windmill past 3 Panthers. He works his way on his forehand to the left post. And Bobrovsky reaches out with the left pad. An absolute denial. And through your call, he made 3 sparkling stops to keep this still a 1-goal game.
The 5-hole is open, but let's be honest, McDavid would have been denied by the stick on the 5-hole. But 3 tremendous saves by Bobrovsky. One on McDavid, another on Draisaitl. Tie about the draw, Kane gets it back for Walman. Pass across, the shot is blocked off a stick. I'm surprised that stick stood upright. Kane tried to keep it. Tough battle along the near corner. Driven back towards Walman. Jake Walman gets it to an open Kane. Down low with 2, with 1. Turnaround shot. Skinner up high. The power play ends with 5:02. And Jeff Skinner, who had a chance to set up Adam Henrique, he gets denied. Bobrovsky keeping the Panthers upright.
And Alec, I'm going to say this as open as I can. I know you're on the play-by-play, but please give me your thoughts.
Oh
they're
my.
They're not reinventing the wheel, the Edmonton Oilers here at this point. They're just playing hockey. They're pushing up north-south. They're taking their chances. They're taking their space on the open ice. The power play was get to them by Barkov, and maybe the Cats are backing off a little bit, but I see the Oilers just taking advantage of the space on the ice right now.
Scoring dilemma, John. That's the name of the game. The Panthers, they were up by 3. They felt that they're comfortable being up 3. The Oilers, of course, they know the sense of desperation. You put Pickard in the net in place of Skinner, who has been on and off throughout this postseason. But most of those goals were clearly not his fault. And most of the goals that he allowed, those were not his fault. That's just excellent work by the Panthers of being able to outwork your opponents. But the Oilers, they found a new sense of life in this second period. And whatever speech they gave in the first intermission, it's worked here. If they find a tying goal in the second period, don't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be surprised that if they find the tying goal, they find a way to win this thing. How silly does that sound from the first 20 minutes of what we saw when it was all Cats? When I take the next 10 and have you close, maybe it'll be all Cats for me and all Oilers for you. That's the way it's kind of been in this game so far. But that's the way I see it for the Panthers. As you mentioned, they got a little bit too comfortable, maybe backed off a little bit. But that space that's there, I just see the Oilers kind of playing this game like they would play a regular season game. Add the desperation into it, but they're just playing the way we usually see them play right now. The puck movement is crisp. The shot making's pretty electric. But that power play side, as you talk about 4 or 5 chances in the last one, they keep the puck in the several times that they did. And Bobrovsky to make those saves that he did is the only reason why the Panthers are still up by 1.
It's still that's way here. Stuart Skinner was the big reason the Oilers were in it in the first period. But now Sergei Bobrovsky is the reason why the Panthers are in it. Matthew Tkachuk did have 2 goals of his own. But now we need that sense of urgency from the Panthers. They see their leaping threat in here. Here's Nurse trying to look for the tying goal. Nurse around, save the backhander, score! Right off the bat, Vasily Podkolzin, and we're level!
We are tied, Mr. Nava. Can you believe it? That silly Podkolzin, look what I found. He just gets this one just over the left pad of Sergei Bobrovsky, who made the first save. And if I'm the Cats and I'm Paul Maurice, are you going to call a timeout? Do something.
Oh, yeah, I feel if you're Paul Maurice, you have no choice but to call timeout. Volkozhin backhanded one blocker side on Bobrovsky. And things have gone full circle. All Panthers in the first, all Oilers in the second. What is this? And to think that the Panthers have controlled the second period, what are we seeing? The Oilers pulling an Uno reverse card? Saying if something here is Nate Schmidt fires one that reaches Pickard and he covers it. But tell me something that we have yet to know here. Because there's a lot of the unknown here, John.
Yeah, there is. You've been right on the Uno reverse button. Exactly. But really what we're seeing again is the desperation. And I think when you put Calvin Pickard in there, just my honest opinion, it forces the Oilers to make sure that things don't get out of control in their own end and they can keep it going.
And the Oilers, they want to keep this one going. They're not satisfied with just a tie game here. They want to go for the lead. The Panthers have not called timeout after that Podkolzin goal. So depth scoring has come up here. Here's a long shot. Reaches Pickard and Bennett almost had one. It just went between his legs. Schmidt gets rid of the puck by Frederick. Ekholm moves it up for the far side. And Ekholm gets ran over along the right point. It'll be the Panthers restarting for their own zone. Desperation factor is settling in. It settled for the Oilers earlier in the second period. Now it has to settle for the Panthers. Icing here, 4:02.
Well, you just talked about it with Bennett. I got a great replay from the Sportsnet side. Remember that first period when he got denied by Stuart Skinner in the left post? This one gets nutmegged in between his legs near the right side. Honestly, Sam Bennett should have 2 goals in this game.
He honestly should. It's Bennett. He of course, it was goal-scoring prowess here. He has been on fire. 4 goals in the finals, and 2 of them in game 1. Panthers win another faceoff. McDavid tying up Kulak, wanting to take it away. He does take it away. Draisaitl wants to get this one back. Kulak rushes up to it. At the left point, held inside. Rodriguez along the near side boards. McDavid and Brown combine to double team him up and take it away. Schmidt, pickpocketed by Brown and McDavid. Still, it's Brown and McDavid, a duo of Connors that have been hounding this puck at the Panther zone. Up the far side, Schmidt trying to blow by Bouchard. With Pickard out of the net, he makes a stop. McDavid closing it on Schmidt. Goes around the near boards on this pass. Comes out for Reinhart. He waits. He fires. Glove saved by Pickard. Reinhart tried to go top shelf on this one.
I like that play there, though, from Nate Schmidt. Again, you got Bouchard in his grill. You know this period's turning completely one way, but Schmidt stays smart with the puck. He throws it in behind the inboards, gets a wide open chance. No, Reinhart doesn't get a lot on it, but he creates an ozone draw.
Now, an ozone draw, I feel the Panthers, they need to score the next goal. Do something to quell the Oilers' momentum.
You got to get something here. Again, if it's a tie, you could say it's all square, which it will be, but it's unbelievable the way that this game is turned.
Now, if the Oilers do complete this comeback, it's a wide-open series now. And I feel the Oilers would be well-energized entering Game 5 with a tied series. If it's a 3-1, good night. The Oilers control their own zone as it's Walman going across the ice for Ekholm. Cut away by Barkov. Gets it deep to Bobrovsky. Pointed out towards the far out boards. Kapanen's on the hold. Gets this one back for Ekholm. Ekholm with a long blast. And that came towards the front. Kane's hunting it. The puck is loose. Nobody knew where it is. The officials did. It's covered.
The puck is actually in Barkov's hockey pants. So they'll retrieve that and get a draw.
Well, of all places to go to, we saw pucks going towards her sweatpants. We saw pucks going towards the visors. Who remembers that one time where Dan Girardi looked like a pirate when the puck hit his visor, and he looked like a pirate?
Sometimes it happens. Pucks take innocuous bounces.
It do be like that, of course, as the kids would say. The faceoff is to the left of Big Bob. Panthers win this one as Mikko beats up Podkolzin into it. Held it along the far half boards as Edmonton's fighting for every loose puck. It's the Panthers with it now. It's a one-on-one battle which could quickly become a 3-on-2. Jones tried to set up in front. Brad Marchand, shot blocked. He'll get it back. He falls. The Oilers pick it up. Going back across from right to left on the white jerseys. Perry drops it off. Draisaitl just onside as Podkolzin, he got his foot on the blue line. The Panthers play this one out. Bouncing puck is collected by Nurse. Nurse played this one over towards Draisaitl, who waits. The former third overall pick in the 2014 draft. 6 teams have overcome a 3-goal deficit to win The last instance was the 2006 Carolina Hurricanes in Stanley Cup Final history. Ironically, it was against this Oilers team. The Oilers trying to reverse the fortunes here. And it all came tumbling down as Ty Conklin allowed a freebie to Rod Brindamore in game 1 of that finals. That was the last time there was a 3-0 comeback in a finals game. Pickard plays this one out for Bouchard. Held inside by Tkachuk at the far half boards. Tkachuk fires. Stopped by Pickard. It'll be picked up at the near half boards now. And skating down coast to coast is Bouchard. He'll flip this one for Henrique. Henrique appearing in back-to-back finals. The only other time he's appeared in the finals was with the Devils. Out in front. And it could not be corralled down by Edmonton. It'll be going across the ice for Sam Bennett, who slows up. Bennett towards the left side. Brad Marchand comes in. Tkachuk, Yanni Cage. Oh, a big block right in front. Tkachuk was on hat-trick watch, but there was too much traffic there. Verhaeghe with a big hit along the far side. Is this going to be a penalty? And Bouchard is down, and we have the predictable response as Ekholm sends up to Verhaeghe.
I'm looking at this now in the mix of Tkachuk. There's two players right in front of the goal crease. Tkachuk, it's the right idea off the pass. He's got no lane to shoot as Ekholm and Nugent-Hopkins combine with the shot on Verhaeghe. He gets a late hit against the glass on Bouchard. That could easily be called boarding as the referees converge on that. Bouchard is definitely rocked. They're checking for blood, but this should be a penalty, all things considered, against the Cats.
And with the way that the penalty is drawn, Bouchard lost a stick in the process. Yeah, and with the way in which he was hurt, I feel that that could have easily been a concussion. So they're going to take a look at this to see if it's 5 or 2. And I don't blame them for discussing about potential 5-minute major. That is uncalled for Verhaeghe. It's one thing to pin someone, but to deliberately check someone towards the boards, I think the level of impact is going to determine his fate.
Yeah, it's definitely boarding, and it's definitely a call. I'm not going to say we haven't seen worse, and I won't disagree with you, Alec. McDavid's now having some words, and alongside Bouchard, it's like, hey, what's going on? And we'll see what we get here at 1:11. Now the refs are coming over. I would be surprised, and I'll be honest as I can be, if there is no call. There's at least got to be a minor here.
Whoa, that's what we're getting. No penalty on the play. Wow. The Panthers get away with it.
That is 2 in this game, Alec. And I'll say the refs got that one wrong. I completely disagree. There should at least be a minor penalty against Bouchard who got rocked by Verhaeghe.
Yeah, I very much disagree with that. That is at least 2 minutes. How in the world is that not a penalty?
That's boarding. Again, you take it away.
The discussions that we're getting onto. Oh my goodness. How in the world is that not a penalty? That's twice in which there's been a missed penalty. We're heading into the final minute, the second period. Verhaeghe trying to hold as McDavid gets tied up. Brings space up, forcing a long blast. And that's blocked in front. And the Oilers take it up. Draisaitl gets right by. Draisaitl to set up. And I thought they should have shot it there. Connor Brown with that open lane. The Panthers get this one out. Ekholm goes across Verhaeghe. Up the far boards. Going across the ice. 40 seconds as they get time of his Draisaitl as he beats out Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe going to McDavid. McDavid gets us in deep. Draisaitl knocks this one away. And we have a high stick. This is going to go against the Oilers. And you called a one against Draisaitl, but you don't call it a one against Verhaeghe. We should be 4-on-4 now.
Yeah, it looks like there's an elbow from Draisaitl against Gustav Forsling as he's battling for the puck. That one's right in front of the referee. They're calling that off the head turn. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Alec. 4-on-4, definitely, because that's a penalty, but so was the one that we just had that was not called. Oilers certainly got a beef.
Now the newest beef here. Oilers versus missed calls. Because obviously we had 2 missed calls, one on Bennett, another on Verhaeghe, as this quick shot was stopped by Pickard. This rebound comes to Seth Jones. 2 defensemen on the top power play unit for the Cats. You hold around as it's Barkov was yet to score in the finals. They're 2 of 3 in this game, 6 shots. Back around to the near corner. As the Panthers are continuing to look, the pass is blocked, And backpedaling, I think it's Jake Walman with 7 seconds. This puck comes back out for Jones. On the near side, Tkachuk on hat-trick walks, tie up, and across the ice, Pickard to stop. The rebound comes towards the near corner, and that is to end the second period. A lot of missed calls here and there, and of course, for all the arguments of whether or not we should be 4-on-4, those are valid concerns. But the Panthers still enter the third with 1:29 power play time. After being down by 3, the Oilers have leveled it at 3.
Crazy stuff. And again, we're trying to be as neutral as I can on the goal. That's the same save that Bennett was robbed of from Skinner in the first as Ekblad off the cross and alongside for Pickard. But you're absolutely right. The Oilers should have a couple extra power plays in this game, bar none. There is no argument as far as what's been called, what they should have. It is 4 penalties against the Oilers, 3 against the Cats. They could easily have 5, no doubt about that. But the main thing is mission accomplished as far as what happened in that second. Finally found an answer in that second frame. Shot board 27-24, hits 22-13, faceoffs 27-26. Cats had the advantage on everything except the draw, but 1 for 3 on the power play for Edmonton, 2 for 4 for the Cats. You can't worry about the stuff that hasn't been called now, Alec. It's certainly something for us to talk about, but the Oilers did their job. They got a level game going into the third period at 3-3.
Yeah, they have to. Don't let those missed calls get into your head. You got to clean things up and don't fall back onto old habits that have been plaguing you. Old habits meaning, and I'm not talking about in the sense of relying heavily on Connor and Leon, but I'm talking about old habits in the way of undisciplined penalties. So don't fall back onto those habits because that's how you play onto the Panthers' trap. Of course, we can talk about the 2 missed calls on Bennett and Verhaeghe. And of course, we honestly should be playing 4-on-4 now. But here it is the headlines about. Hits 22-13 Panthers. Block shots 13-9 Oilers. And takeaways are 3-0 Panthers. And while the Oilers don't have any takeaways here, with the way that they're defending in the second period, that's something to watch out for with the block shots that they're putting. And Calvin Pickard's play has been another storyline. If the Oilers do complete this comeback, Game 5 in net is going to be very interesting. And I feel you nailed it. You go to Pickard if the Oilers win.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question at this point. That's where I would lean. I think I don't even have to be Chris Knobloch to tell you that, Alec. They already know what they're going to do. Calvin Pickard has already been as good as he could possibly be asked for. And 10 out of 10. He's been a backup journeyman all the way across. In between the former Red Wing Oilers, started with the Colorado Avalanche. Decent career, all things considered. This is the biggest stage for him, and they really needed it, and he stepped up. Honestly, Stuart Skinner gave up the 3 goals. If it wasn't for him in the first, it could have been 6 for the Cats. But the Oilers responded. Their season was on the line, as I mentioned, and they really came out strong. Again, Sam Bennett with the slash on Bouchard. That turns into a power play goal in the mix. Let me get back into the reset. For RNH, his 6 in the power play from Draisaitl and McDavid. They were pointless in the last game, but not after that. Darnell Nurse, what a heck of a shot that was off the Mattias Ekholm setup. He's like elongated near that left side dot. It pinched in tight, and yet somehow top right corner and in over the shoulder of Bobrovsky. And then Vatsali Podkolzin, excellent work for Darnell Nurse, who's had a much better game. And quite frankly, a lot of the Oilers have, with the exception of Evander Kane. I still think he's had a rough one. But Darnell Nurse throws it out in front for Podkolzin. He scores in the backhand just over the left pad of Sergei Bobrovsky, right in the slot. And as I mentioned, again, I don't want to punch it too much, but I have to. The Oilers are just playing this game as they would in a standard regular season game. Yes, the intensity, attention to detail, but I like the way that their offense is moving free and easy. They've taken everything from the first period, they flushed it, they moved on, and they're just executing, Alec. That's really all I can say.
Yeah, they're executing to perfection here throughout the second period. The Oilers, that is. Up and down the lineup, they're getting everyone involved. McDavid, Draisaitl, and even the depth guys. The guys that you want to see step up along the depth side. Podkolzin, Jeff Skinner, Adam Henrique. We've seen their depth players step up in a variety of ways. I would love to see more I would love to see more from Jeff Skinner and Kasperi Kapanen. It's not just because they're a former Hurricane and former Penguin, respectively.
From the effort that I'm seeing, as we're going to put a bow on this and go to our other headlines, but from the effort that I'm seeing, it's not more so the coaching, because I think that first period in the adjustments, Oilers come out flat, and that was to be determined. There was a lot of moves that were made that you and I kind of questioned, but like, well, I don't know if that was the right call. I do think from what we saw in the second period, to me, that's not what Chris Knobloch came out and said. That's what the players came out and did. Guys, our season's on the line. We need to be able to steal one here in Sunrise. Let's go out and play the way that we can. Look at this tweet from Paul Bissonnette. Well, got nothing. They have no room. Anaconda chokehold, game over. He's feeling the same way like all of us did, but the Oilers came out to a man, and they fought, and they've tied it back up.
Yeah, they fought and clawed their way back. This is admirable. I want to go along the... Of course, he touched on the NBA side with the Pacers up 2-1 in the finals. Now, I know the Thunder have faced adversity over in this postseason. Of course, they made quick work of the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves because as they can go offense and defense all around them. The Nuggets gave them a test because they had the personnel to match up with the Thunder's lineup decisions. The Pacers do too. And if you want to go with the Twin Tower lineup of Hartenstein and Holmgren, I feel it may work against the Nuggets because as you account for guys like Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. But against the Pacers, you have to account for their quick pace. And that's where I actually agree with the decision from Mark Daigneault to bench Hartenstein for Cason Wallace.
There's a lot of personnel decisions, and I'll be as honest as I can be for Rick Carlisle. I know Daigneault's a great coach, got a great team. Rick Carlisle's got the edge no matter what you think about it as far as coaching and mastery. He's been here, he's done that before. Yes, they've shocked me, already taken 2 games, but there is a lot to be said about the Indiana Pacers. I think when he brought him over, it was a defensive intensity to be expected, but for their offense to be this good, to pull that trade in alongside for Sabonis, to go ahead and get Tyrese Halliburton, that's a masterclass, and it's going to be boons for the Pacers for a while. I do want to get into some of these NHL awards. You talked about Connor Hellebuyck winning the Vezina and the Hart, deservingly so. We already got the news for Barkov and alongside for King Clancy and the Selke for the top all-around forward. I do want to jump into this, though. Calder Trophy nomination, Lane Hudson of the Montreal Canadiens wins this. Look, I know he was a -2, but he played all 82 games. He had 6 goals, but Alec, he had 60 assists.
That ties an NHL rookie record for defensemen, by the way. 60 assists. You know who else had 60 assists for a rookie among defensemen? Larry Murphy. That was the record when he first stepped onto the league. And that was a record that you cannot overshadow. It was going to be a toss-up between Hudson and Dustin Wolf because Wolf near single-handedly carried the Flames to a playoff spot, only losing out by way of a tiebreaker. That in itself cannot be ignored. But either way, I don't think you would go wrong between Hudson and Wolf here. Celebrini does have an argument, but Hudson and Wolf, I feel, had stronger cases for the award.
And you still got Demidov coming. He got some time there. You already have Caulfield and Suzuki. Got a lot of talent. I really like Hudson. Somehow, hopefully they can get the other part of the brother back over there for the Hudsons and turn them into the Hughes because Montreal could be pretty nasty in the near future. Voted most outstanding by the peers, the Ted Lindsay Award is none other than Nikita Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Spencer Carberry won Coach of the Year for the Washington Capitals. No surprise here, Alec, that Kel McCarr wins his second Norris Trophy as the league's best defenseman. The back-to-back 90-plus point seasons for the app.
It's no surprising that McCarr got a second Norris Trophy, but you know who I want to give a shout-out to? The runner-up, Zach Werenski, for this award. At the very best, I saw Werenski getting second place for the Norris because we knew it was a foregone conclusion that McCarr was going to win it. But for Werenski to be the runner-up for this award on a season in which the Blue Jackets had no expectations for, and what was supposed to be a season dedicated to Johnny Hockey, this was outstanding for Werenski. To will his team with the leadership that he provides. Not only him, but also Boone Jenner, that Werenski being the driving force of this team. And it was his moment, his memorable moments that rallied this Blue Jackets club to nearly getting into the playoffs. They fell short by a couple points, but it was still a magical year for the Blue Jackets. And also, Bill Masterton Trophy going to Sean Monahan. Who else would it go to?
I wanted to mention that too, and I'm glad that you did. As he won the Bill Masterton Trophy again, that's qualifies for perseverance, sportsmanship, dedication to hockey. And please go watch the video that's posted on NHL.com or NHL Network, wherever you get it. Johnny's wife, Meredith, came in flying over to surprise him with the award. They showed the video. They went through some scrapbooks and memories alongside Johnny Gaudreau. It'll bring a tear to your eye because really when I watched it, I had that. Felt like I was cutting onions a little bit. That was such a cool thing to show there alongside for Meredith and Sean Monahan. Such a lovely thing for the NHL to do it, and I'm glad that he won it.
Oh yeah, so happy that he won the Bill Masterton Trophy. Because Johnny Gaudreau was not just a teammate of his; he was his friend. He was someone who was close as a brother to him. He convinced Johnny spent the entire summer to convince Sean Monahan to come to Columbus. He followed up on his word. He was looking forward to playing together. They sadly never got the chance, and a bounce back year for him was exactly what the doctor ordered for Monahan. He's revived his career in Columbus, being coached by Dean Evison and rallying around the troops. What a year it is! But also, I want to mention another Bill Masterton Trophy finalist, Gabriel Landeskog. Yes, it would have been nice to see Colorado go on a deep run, and I felt that Colorado would be one of the few teams to have a chance against the Florida Machine. But what a year for Landeskog, coming back after being out 2 years, 10 months out of hockey action. You come back and play your first games of professional hockey with the Colorado Eagles. You score your first goal there. Come back in time for your first playoff game at home in Game 3. You get the crowd chanting when you throw 5 hits in that first period, and then you scored a goal in Game 4 that gets your fans over to a frenzy. To put this into comparison, Avs fans have not cheered this loud at any point in the Stanley Cup Final 3 years ago when the Avalanche were playing. That's how impactful Landy's return was.
That's incredible stat by you, Alec. Thank you for that because, again, I remember during the house sitting time, and I'm sitting there on X and I'm posting that, I had chills when I saw Gabe Landeskog out there able to do what he was doing. I mean, he's skating with speed. Look, he might not be able to play pain-free throughout the rest of his career with the knees and all the rehab and everything else that he's done, but as you mentioned, it was just a couple of games with the Colorado Eagles, and then for him to come out and do that, I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. So that was such a great story as well, and we had a lot of fun with those awards. Here's a soft hockey-related note. If anyone does have a PS5 or a Series X, I encourage you to go over to the EASHL playtesting site for Electronic Arts. NHL 26 beta window, I believe, is going to be open on the 20th. That would be Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, I've been playing those since about NHL 12. Again, I took a 3-year break. Pretty good and all that stuff. But I was not able to get in because I believe that they've left it to influencers and people that say nice things. I'm not one of those ones that always say nice things. The game's not normally as good as it used to be. It's been that way for a while now. So when you see all those wonderful fuzzy comments, just like you see for the Madden videos, don't fall for it.
Well, sports gaming has been on the decline as of late. I get that you try to make improvements on each of those games, but I feel the issues have just not gone away as of yet. But nonetheless, hopefully it all rebounds to form at some point, and I'm still holding on to that hope that it does. Unpopular opinion, but I know GM Connected hasn't been around for a while, but here's an unpopular opinion. I think it's worn out its welcome on EA NHL, but nonetheless, whatever direction they go, I think they have to take all the right steps. There's only one award that's yet to be decided. That's the Jim Gregory Award for General Manager of the Year. Finalists are Kevin Cheveldayoff, Jim Nill, and Bill Zito. But whoever it goes to, I think it's Bill Zito.
At this point, I know it's a regular award, but yes. Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I mean, who else? I mean, out of those three, I mean, let's face it. I mean, out of those three, there's only one team in the Stanley Cup playoffs, right? Unless the first guy is the Oilers GM. But
no, you got both the Jets and the Dallas Stars that were nominated in Cheveldayoff and Nil, and I agree with you. I agree with Alec on that. So it's only going to go to Zito. Yes, it's a regular season award, but you think about the trade. I know Kachuk got hurt. You bring in Seth Jones. You get guys like Nico Mikkola, Nate Schmidt. A lot of them to come in there and make big impacts for this team right now. They're on the precipice. I know that second period notwithstanding, but Florida has done a lot of things to improve their team even from last year, Alec, and it's worked out.
Yeah, it has a lot for the Panthers. Look, I get that Jim Nill got Mikko Rantanen and Michael Granlund, but the Panthers, that you could argue they did more to improve the roster to be built for the playoffs. Brad Marchand was the cherry on top.
Yeah, and I think Bill Zito has done a better job, especially for this year, if you want to put it just in a vacuum, of staying away from the cap crunch more than Jim Nill did. Look, I'm not saying he doesn't have a talented roster, but when you go out and get somebody like Mikko Rantanen and you pay the price you have to with the picks, yes, they've drafted well, but you lost Logan Stankoven, who already looks pretty good in Carolina. I know Alex not going to mind that, but Mikko Rantanen's pricey.
He is. And now you're in influx because Jason Robertson is getting thrown out on the trade market because there are no extension talks. And honestly, I feel if you're going to make a decision between Robertson and Harley, you go with Thomas Harley. So I feel the extension talks are more with Harley now. And the shifting focus is that there might be a likelihood that Robertson could be dealt to make room for Michael Granlund, which in hindsight, you could say it is bad for them, but you got to keep Harley no matter what. Robertson, it's a bummer, but sadly, if you want to trade Robertson, you have to get as much in return as you can here. Say, could you negotiate with Carolina again and get back some of the picks that you lost in the Rantanen deal? Say, if you get back the third round pick you trade away while getting some of Carolina's draft picks, do you get a Jackson Blake as part of the return? Do you get a high-end prospect? Who of the regulars do you turn to in such a return?
Alec, sometimes I joke around with the Red Wings as far as the names and who they should go after, but legitimately, I'm only thinking of two this year. One is Mitch Marner, and I said that to you openly. Regardless of what it is for the cap, I get it. I do think if you break them away from the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's a legitimate goal scorer that they need. I don't think he signs here, but that would be one of the ones I would go after. But Robertson is the one legitimately, if I'm the Wings, I'll go after because we got a lot of picks to offer. There's a lot of defensemen. There's a lot of forwards that they can go ahead and have their pick of the litter on. And I do think that would make a good trade partner in a recent cap kind of advance where we could kind of take some of Dallas's cap away and in turn, I think at worst, get a 70-point producer on that line with Larkin, DeBrincat, and the like. I think that would make a good withstanding. And by the way, Jim Nill used to be our GM, so make it happen.
Yeah, I would want to if you're Detroit. If it's not Marner, go after Robertson, because I want to see the Red Wings make the playoffs.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm on the opinion of just forget about Marner altogether and just go and just set your scope on Robertson. Do whatever you got to do to bring him in. The way Marner performed in these playoffs, look, he may be the top free agent on the market, but if I was a GM, I'm having second thoughts about him.
I don't disagree with you, Ian, in the mix of it, because, again, it's a lot of cap hit. There's a lot of stuff, at least for Robertson, you could make the sign and trade make sense and get everything locked down. And he's a lot younger, too, and there's a lot to work with. I know that you talk about Dallas and the lack of goal scoring, but dare I mention, those last couple of games, Robertson was the only one who scored.
Yeah, he was. Take it away, John. Third period.
So I'll take this 10. Alec is set to close, and then we'll figure it out the rest of the way. If we need OT, we can definitely go 20 and split. As goals, period by period, it was dominated by both teams. Cats had the first 3. Oilers respond the next 3 in the final set of 20. That is where we set, unless we need OT. It's a 3-3 game. Barkov, he gets cross-checked by McDavid. This goes back now to the right side. Put back in behind the end boards. Jones looking for a shot lean. This patient offense here for the Cats. Again, Pickard has played most of all of that second period. He hasn't given up a goal just yet. That's what allowed the Edmonton Oilers largely to come back. Good passing here for Reinhart, still in the shooting lane. Works his way to the left dot. There's a toe drag. Lost the puck. And this will be chopped by Aaron Ekblad, kept into the zone. RNH, he's still moving very gingerly, but he's got a goal in this game. Here's a shot right across for Pickard, but the vulcanized rubber doesn't get there. Stays in the zone for Jones. Near the right side dot. High slot left side. Ekblad walks in, shoots up, blocked, and sent back down for Edmonton. Gorgeous penalty kill to start this third. Pickard makes one save, doesn't have to make any more. Shot board 28-24 for the Cats, but this game is tied. As this is sent back in across the goal mouth, Brad Marchand gets there first, slows up. Now to the right side of the point for Fosling. Back to Brad. Now Gustav lets it go through the screen. Rebound for Hagee, as this one's brushed off the side of the net. Cats still with it. Draisaitl out of the box. Got to be careful here, as this is sent back in behind the end boards. Here's a pin by Darnell Nurse, who already has a goal as well. Brad Marchand. Cross pass looking for Bennett. That one blocked. Kept it in the zone right side by Forsling. Sent back around for Bennett. Carter Verhaeghe buys lonesome to the left side red line. Gives chase. Puck goes all the way outside the zone. Mikkola got to check back up, and so did the Cats. Sending it across the red line. 17:55 left to go in the third. Johnny with you alongside Alec Nava and Ian Genge. Cooper Hawkins middling a little bit of a travel. If this series goes 2-2, might join back in. Good save Pickard as he brushed it away with the glove. Anton Lundell was serene and tried to throw it out front. Can't do so. As it's stopped by Kulakov across the blue. Cats can't touch because they would go off sides. Goes back around to Pickard now. Easier pass for Bouchard. He'll flip the ice. Here's a pass from 120. Rolling puck that was warbling on the ice. Goes back to Bouchard the other 50 feet away. As the Oilers, the road team in Sunrise, with the white jerseys and the blue stripes, this one bounces off the door, and this goes back down to the Oilers' end. Don't see that happen very often. As A.J. Greer, he'll spin and turn some fourth line time. Haven't seen them a lot ever since the Oilers scored 3 unanswered. Here's a chance. Forsling, slap pass to the right side. Stop by Pickard. Look for the backdoor rebound for Greer. Doesn't hit. Forsling now. Same thing. As this gets thrown at the point, Ekblad has to spin and turn. Leave for Gustav. Here's a touch pass. And this shot will get blocked here from Nosek. Flip back down and across the red line. Third period moving quickly. It's been all Cats to start this third after it was all Oil in the second. But the score's still tied. All the goals, 3 for Florida in the first, 3 for Edmonton in the second. They got 16-25 thereabouts left in the third. As this is a touch pass for Hagee. Good collect, but it's blocked off Nugent-Hopkins' skate. And sent back down from 100, Nico Mikkola, number 77, former Stanley Cup champion with the Blues. Barkov, as this one's blocked. Picked up off the backhand. Back to Barkov. He shoots intentionally wide off the inboards. And now the Cats will recollect. Here's an opportunity for Barkov. Here's a lead for Mikkola. Lets it go. And this one gets blocked as well. And we get a whistle right at the 16-minute mark.
A lot of zone time for the Panthers here. I think this might have been the mask that came off for Calvin Pickard. That's why the whistle was blown. His mask came off. But a lot of chances as Alexander Barkov gets stopped by Pickard. He just can't buy a goal. And hit the pad of Pickard was what prevented Barkov from scoring his first of the finals. And Jonah Gadjevich almost had another.
That was a really good entry, and alongside that look, as you just mentioned, with a Nico Mikkola shot, I believe, Alec, that hit the top of the right crossbar. But you're right, Pickard's mask might need some repairs. There was a sequence just before that, about 15 seconds ago, where Evan Rodriguez had a fly-by at the net, but he got denied by the left pad of Pickard. He's been good in this game since he's come in.
I feel you're going to have to check it to see if the mask it needs to be repaired. So he's going to put the mask back on. those things can come off easily once the shot reaches a mask.
Stuart Skinner is the one that still has to look on, as we talked about. Again, from that first period avalanche for the Cats, like I mentioned, and I don't blame him. They thought the series might have been over after the first. I thought the same thing, and so did everyone else. But now it's a 3-3 game. Opportunity now for Seth Jones. Puts it back in behind the end boards now for Nico Mikkola. Tried to find Bennett. Bennett's been snake bitten in this game in particular, but definitely not in the series. He's definitely going to get north of $10 million. Whoever pays him might be a little bit of an overpay, but that's how much he's worth at this point because what he's done. He's paid to get paid for what he's done in the playoffs, and that is performing. That's what he always does. Here's a chance down to the right side of the glass. Back to the point, inexplicably not kept in by Jake Walman. 13 saves, all 13 so far for Calvin Pickard. That's the reason why, one of the reasons at least, this game is tied. Jake Walman starts in his own end. Darnell Nurse, there's a slow pass, and from 50, looks like the Oilers have iced it, will change ends.
A missed pass towards the front, that's why it was the icing. Calvin Pickard, what a story. If anyone remembers, he was part of the 2017 Avalanche team that finished dead last in the NHL by a wide margin. And now he's in the Stanley Cup Final as the backup to Stuart Skinner. What a journey it is for him.
Yeah, and honestly, Alec, backup or not, as it's been through at times, handfuls of starts here and there, if you can make a career the way that he's made it, and you just make it in the NHL and play some games, play meaningful moments at this, that's what matters. You're living out your dream on the biggest stage, and he's done a good job. Brad Marchand now will be stick chopped. The right side boards Darnell Nurse. We get this back to Jake Walman. The defensive pairing still kind of throws me off a little bit as it's picked up now for Lindell. Got that third one. I haven't called their names as much because they have been so dominant. I think at least in this game in particular, the result notwithstanding, Edmonton's done a much better job against this third line, although Anton Lindell did make it 3-0 at a time. They've been so good. If you can hold them just to a couple points, you have to take it. That's the way you got to say it. Here's an abbreviated, elongated timeout, essentially for Nate Schmidt, as this pass gets deflected and then goes back to number 88. He's been so good since coming over from the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights. Hard to believe he's barely making over a bat in. As this will be recollected away from Barkov. Now McDavid blows by him. McDavid on the burners. Works his way backhand. Pirouettes. Pass across Ekholm. He gets fought off and blocked by Bobrovsky. As Ekblad now throws it off the end boards for Hagee. As this is rimmed around. Oilers trying to keep this. McDavid throws a pass between his legs. He couldn't find RNH. And this will be chased for Hagee, getting his stick held by Bouchard. That's not called. Again, there's been a lot that's not been called. Kachuk off the drop. Forsling one more. And that pass was just too wide because Kachuk's first pass was late. This goes back to Chuck E. Cheese. Forsling, ripper, knuckle puck. Fought off by Pickard. He finds it in his glove. And a late slash toward the face against Carter Verhaeghe. That's the first extracurricular that we've seen as we go to break.
Don't fall back on old habits. That's what I want to advise the Oilers. Don't fall back on old habits and stay level-headed. You cannot let the Panthers get onto your head because that's what they want. But I'm surprised. We talk of missed penalties. That's the third missed penalty that we've counted. You could argue 4 because I felt that there was a missed penalty on the Oilers early. But if you count that one, that's 2 each that have gone away with penalties. Of course, the Bennett and Verhaeghe one's the most egregious. Add this to the list.
Yeah, like there's been a lot of missed calls. And if I'm the Zebras on this, however they review game tape, a player's safety, or any of that, I think you're going to be giving everybody a minus. I just got to be honest.
Yeah. No matter who wins this game, the biggest losers of this game are Chris Rooney and John Hebert, because this was not a good game that they officiated.
Yeah, the game before that, we gave them full marks because it was complete anarchy on the ice. But when you have penalties that clearly need to be called, they should be. Now, we've had the conversations over the years since doing a lot of these that as you get later in the Stanley Cup Finals, the whistles get swallowed. But when it's right in front, when you see clips in the face and elbows and all of that, I mean, it's right in front of the sight lines. You can't miss those.
No, you can't. You cannot miss out on that having the high stick from Sam Bennett or that boarding from Carter Verhaeghe, and now just recently the holding the stick in which Verhaeghe seemed to have drawn. Of course, fans have every right to be upset, but if I'm an Oilers fan in this crowd, I would still be upset about the missed high stick and the missed boarding.
As it is, as we've talked about too, Alec, it's still a 3-3 game, and all that's left is the result. The only thing that matters for the Oilers today, and that's, again, why I dubbed it response, is go out there and try to find a way to get it 2-2. And whether or not, we talked about Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. Pickard wins. If I'm Chris Knobloch, there is no way I'm going back to Stuart Skinner. He hasn't done anything wrong, but you got to find a way to win. Pickard hasn't lost a game in the postseason yet, so if he does find a way to get a steal here, that's his net, in my opinion.
Yeah, and so far the Panthers, they are leading the way in this third period early. They are setting the tone aggressively. They know the sense of desperation is settling.
Darnell Nurse, his pass partially deflected and played by Bobrovsky. That's why that's no icing. As the Cats have it in their own end. Nate Schmidt looking like Victor Hedman. I like to say that with those elongated timeouts, essentially behind the net to get settled. As this one's picked off, Schmidt will turn around back in his own end. Cats got to be quick about it. Now Sam Bennett, who's been quiet admittedly in this game, not been quiet throughout the series. He's almost hit a post, and he had a couple chances go between his legs. As he settled back down, Bennett tried to feed Tkachuk, and then the second opportunity goes off the outside of the cage. Back to number 9 now. Working his way to the point for Mikkola. Shove it in deep for Tkachuk. He tried to center a pass up front, and this one will get picked off. Now for the Oilers. Nurse makes his pass for Brett Kulak. Here's a pass from 100. Bounces off of Evander Kane, and we'll get a whistle away from the play. We'll see what it is at 12:26.
Well, as we see, Draisaitl, I don't know if he got tangled up. Sam Bennett was in the midst of it. We have to see, is there going to be another penalty?
Sam Bennett's going to get a trip on Draisaitl.
Oh, yeah, he did trip up Draisaitl. Bobrovsky touched it up as Evander Kane was hunt to get down. Bennett was waiting for the worst, but he's in disbelief.
That's clear as day. And right now, if you're Chris Knobloch, again, you take whatever else you can get for this bereavement, take a breath, and you throw your top boys back out there. Essentially, when this power play is done, you get a chance to throw it to Alec to try to finish this one off. If Edmonton scores here, Alec, I can say they might as well win this game.
Yeah, because who knows? This could be the turning point of this third period. It was the Panthers setting the tone early. The Oilers don't have a shot on goal in this period just yet.
Sam Bennett, it's a costly trip. He's got a couple, so it's been a negative for him in this game. That's the only time you can say that. He's still on the Conn Smythe watch should the Panthers win this series. But if it goes 2-2, we're going to have a long way from deciding that. And this is going to be big because you got the power play opportunity from the trip against Draisaitl. This will be sent back down. Bouchard, diving block to a knee, keeps it in. McDavid throws it at the point. Now to Draisaitl, back to Evan Bouchard. He lets a pass go, as is to the left side blue line, just keeps it in. Bounce off the glass from McDavid, throws it between his legs to Corey Perry. And too far for RNH. Again, he is not skating well. He does not have that burst. You know he's dealing with something, as a lot of players are this time of year. But his defense is so important, I don't think Chris Knobloch can afford to keep him out of the lineup. They're already without Zach Hyman. Avoids the hit, does McDavid. Now to Corey Perry near the right side dot. Here's a lead for the German superstar in Draisaitl. Back to the point for Bouchard. High slot. Now to number 97 between the dots. Throws it back to Evan. Bouncing puck has to be recrowled off the boards. McDavid. Slap shot. Rebound. Oh, what a save by Bobrovsky with the right pad. As this goes the other way now for Edmonton. McDavid touch pass. He lost the handle. That doesn't happen to him. Bobrovsky, what a big save. As this goes back down for Bouchard. You might as well. One more stoppage here. I'll throw it to you, Alec. I think we'll get one more. As this get a whistle. 10:45 in the third. I'll just hand the keys to you. You drive us home.
Oh my goodness, Bobrovsky. Are you joking us? with a huge stop as McDavid, he avoids the hit from Lostereen, and he got it off away on time to Corey Perry, and immediately McDavid with the slapper, he tees it up, and Perry, who was denied it front, just off his skate, off of Big Bob's skate, with a yarding cage down low. Wow.
Yeah, there's nothing else to be able to go ahead and take. Alec, you take it away here. I'll back you up.
19 seconds left on this man advantage. 10:45 to go here in the third period. That was the Oilers' first shot on goal in the period, and it's a false start as Jeff Skinner tried to help out Adam Henrique.
Unbelievable, as we said in the last stretch. You kind of wonder what's going on through Big Bob's head. He's always cool as a cucumber on the side of it. He still looks that same way. But his team had a 3-0 lead, and now it's tied, and the power play is starting to dwindle.
And here the Panthers win this faceoff. They'll be slapped around by the Cats. They'll clear this one all the way down, and standing there is Calvin Pickard, who will play Stuart Skinner entering the second period. Final 5 seconds as Edmonton loads up for the far side. Skips right by for Evander Kane. Did this reach? It did not gain the red line, so that's going to do it for the man advantage in all likelihood.
Yeah, it's just 1 second left, and now my critical question is this, Alec, for the man advantage. Does Sam Bennett off a face-off win, if the Cats can get it, does he cheat and just stay out by the penalty box? Maybe try to get a breakaway pass? Got to look out here. And Anton Lundell gave Evander Kane the business. He almost pushed him in the players' bench and knocked down the ref in the process.
Angel Lostereen, and it's lucky that Kane's skate didn't catch him. Ooh, that was nasty.
Yeah, you don't want to have that happen. You're absolutely right there.
And so this face-off at the Edmonton zone, and off the face-off, the power play ends. The Oilers immediately go to work. Bennett immediately jumps out the box, did not go far enough as it's grabbed by Schmidt with Skinner in pursuit. He takes it away. Evander Kane keeps it alive, but coughs it off to Erod. Mishandled by Matthew Tkachuk. Across the ice for Ekholm. Loads up and winds it up. Up the far half boards, Kane. Tried to hold the zone here. Right in front, this bounces off of Connor Brown. Brown in pursuit. Brown gets it over. Tkachuk there, but he's quickly shoved out the way. 11 shots in between the 4 power plays for the Oilers. From the far corners is Brown. Wants to move to Henrique, he does. Back around to the near half boards, where it's collected by Edmonton, but it bounces right onto a Cat. Cannot be held by the Oilers, but they'll be the beneficiaries of an icing, so a blessing in disguise.
Well, take what you can take there, as you're right. 9:42 left here in the third. Shot board now starting to take advantage of the Cats, but as we mentioned, no goals in this third. It's still tied after 3 unanswered between both periods. Can the Oilers score 4 in a row? That is the million-dollar question here. Or will the Cats survive and take a 3-1 series lead?
If it's a power play for the Oilers again, especially late in the game, I don't see the Panthers surviving as such, because that's only delaying the inevitable. This puck goes right to the Oilers zone, not far enough for an icing as Kulak collects it up. Reinhardt's on him. Kulak will send the entry feed, deflected by Perry. The icing is waved off. Forsling was the first one to the near corner, and it was deflected out, so no delay of game penalty against Forsling.
Sergei Bobrovsky, as we go to break with 9:22 left in the third, is 22 of 25. Stuart Skinner's day is done. It's been that way for a while, as he played just most of the first period of 14 of 17. Calvin Pickard, 15 of 15. Again, Stuart Skinner only had 20 minutes. Pickard has been unblemished the rest of the way. Really, he's done the job more so than I could even expect, Alec. To be able to hold this donut so far, that's exactly what had to happen for the Oilers to get back in this game.
Yeah, he held his own for Pickard, and that galvanized the Oilers to tie this up a 3 apiece. Scoring the next goal is equally as important for both teams. We know the Panthers will impose with their physical forecheck because they're aggressive all the time. They're relatively healthy. The Oilers, they're down Hyman and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. We know that he's playing through an injury. He was a game-time decision for Game 3, but we know that his skating is not up to par. But that's the price you have to pay for playing this deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, it's not, Alec, and you're right. He's so fundamentally important. Whatever it is, they have to do that, because I would imagine the same thing. If Zach Hyman could go at all, to the point on RNH, he would be in this lineup as well. It's just, you get down to the bottom ends of that depth, and Florida's got a little bit more of it. No, we're not going to see Balinskis or Jacob Megna or Mackie Samoskevich and all that. But right now, when you throw in guys like Troy Stecher and put Corey Perry on the fourth line, now he's played some first-line time as it's gotten later, or you move on from Janmark or not play as much to Podkolzin or Arvidsson, they just don't have the depth that they need right now, and RNH pretty much has to play.
Of course, we know the Oilers, they've been relying on McDavid and Draisaitl for so long, and they're still relying on them, but are also relying on their depth pieces. We know they have the pieces to catch up with the Panthers. Is it enough, though? We'll find out here as we're back in action. Perry, who is back on the fourth line side, but Colson shoved by Seth Jones. The Panthers trying to clear, and moving up for the near side boards, it is Erod. He blows by Kulak, as Kulak knocked the puck away from him. It's been on both sides of the Battle of Alberta. Draisaitl played it free, but Colson trying to get it deep as Perry. Across the ice, it bounced off a skate. But this puck comes back for the Cats. They're trying to split the defense, but it was knocked away on time. Edmonton coming back free on free. Perry towards puck. Colson kicks, save Bobrovsky. Rebound to Kulak as he looks back for Nurse. Nurse, lows, winds up, fires, and another save by Big Bob.
I know that first one with the kick save, you could say in a beauty if you want to, because he stopped the puck. But Corey Perry, he does not like to go up the gut. He leaves it off for the left side. It's a gigantic rebound off that left side of the pad. If that chance is cleaned up at all right in the middle of the slot, Edmonton scores and takes the lead.
You would think if Perry could get a deflection to elevate his stick at an angle in which it goes towards the top corner. He's just passed Claude Lemieux for the fourth most playoff games played all time. And his 9 goals are the most by a player 40 years of age all time in NHL history. 39 or older, that is. That just passed John Beliveau. Towards the right side. Oh, look out! A big hit towards the near out boards, and Jeff Skinner shaking up as he goes right towards the right point. As the Panthers pick it up. Anton Lundell goes for Brad Marchand. Holds, fires, stopped by Pickard. Lundell can't handle the rebounds. It's held down by Ekholm. Constor Henrique. Ekholm. Looks the arena was on him. Ekholm trying to get it out again, and he does so. Picked up by Forsling as he beats out Trent Frederick. Marchand enters back with it. Marchand drops out for Lundell. Lundell, bouncing puck. Oh, this was wide of the goal. The next goal is likely going to be the most important one. Connor Brown picks it up. McDavid wants to set it up in front. RNH wants to go for McDavid. This puck bounces all the way down the ice. It'll be settled by Kulak at the near corner. With Barkov in pursuit, he straps it up. Reinhart closes in. Reinhart to the net. And it's stopped by Pickard. He gets his own puck back. Settling along the near out boards. McDavid stick lifting him. He goes to Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe beat out by RNH on this pass intended for who I believe is Ekblad. From that far corner. But rather, that was Jones. And several stick lifts as Verhaeghe. Got it. Had it knocked away. It'll end up with Bouchard. Along the near out boards. 7:12 left as Barkov just held his own. McDavid turned away by Mikkola towards Reinhart, who couldn't handle it. Kulak and Bouchard both there to double team on him. McDavid still out there as both teams make partial changes. Barkov still out there. Verhaeghe escapes with it towards the right point. Handed with Jones. Mikkola also out there. Backhanding one towards the corner, but in the way there was Kulak. Bouchard wanting to backhand this one out, and finally, the Oilers will get the changes that they want to. But here they come, testing the ice. Nugent-Hopkins towards the goal. Bobrovsky can't locate, it's behind him. And getting spun down behind was one of the Cats. And it's behind the net. If Reinhart fighting this one free, RNH can't get this one back as it's spun up. And walking along, here is a big cropper. Walman scores! They come all the way back! Jake Walman, the Gritty King!
I don't even know how I feel about that because it is the Oilers, but it's the former Red Wing and Jake Walman scoring the biggest goal of his career. There is a battle toward behind the net of Bobrovsky. Cats try to get it out. Barkov fumbles it. And Walman, after that pass, I mean, he is so open near the right side dot. All he's got to do is unleash the clapper. Bobrovsky tries to cut it off, No chance that he could get there. Unbelievable call by you, Alec. Unbelievable effort by the Oilers. They've scored 4 straight.
Oh, the big clapper. That's the signature move from Jake Walman from the right side. He scored the biggest goal of his NHL hockey career. And that is one that he'll remember should the Oilers hold on for the final 6:20. The Panthers need the next goal. Played out onto the far side. Comes back for Edmonton. They have seized the momentum ever since the Walman goal. Kapanen moves in. Kapanen backs up towards the near corner. Kapanen serving. Wants to go back towards the point. Can't do so as that lane was closed off by Rodriguez, the ex-Penguin. Tkachuk. He scored twice here. His first 2 goals in the finals goes for Bennett. Had a quiet game. Certainly it's not been quiet in these finals. Losterinen can't pick it up. Now he does. Tkachuk on hat-trick watch. Stopped by Pickard. This rebound comes all the way back out for Kane. He'll skate this one out for center. Moving up the ice. And all he can manage to do is get it towards the Panther zone. And way offside is Tkachuk. 5:39 to go. Shots 34-29 Panthers. And you best believe that the desperation factor is now with Florida.
You know what's interesting now? Like after game 2, I think all of us were in here on the side and we all agreed that no matter what happens, if Edmonton and Florida, if they're able to get a split after 2 games, fine. You feel pretty good about where you're at. Essentially, when you walk into a game 4 and you say, hey, you got Florida and Edmonton, 2 of the best teams, not only because they're the last ones left, but really all the way across the board, these are the best teams in the NHL. If you could find a way to split and Sunrise go 2-2, you feel pretty good about where the season's at. And now, it's interesting. You come off a 6-1, where Edmonton gets absolutely trounced. You start this game in game 4, the Cats are up 3-0. And now we get to have the conversation, how do the Cats feel after a game like this? It's unbelievable.
Oh, we're seeing everything happen. And yes, if the Oilers do win this one, yes, I have something to say at the end. Because yes, I said this game was over. I said the series was over. But I might just tempted fate with that one.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what you're about to say because I think I might jump on the same thing as you because I'm looking at it right now in this game, and I really don't want to get too far ahead of myself because Game 5's on Saturday. But admittedly, the prediction I made for Oilers in 6 when I said I need a mouthwash, all of a sudden that's still alive.
I mean, you kept it on life support. It's back. And I think it may be alive. The Oilers in 7 prediction is also still alive from that standpoint too. And you best believe that even with the Panthers being one of the best road teams in all-time playoff history, at least this year's Panthers team, the Oilers, of course, they'll be feeling the energy. And I think the Panthers, they had 4 guys that were pressing from behind, right on Bobrovsky. They have 4 players pressing. And on the tying goal, they're all trapped as the Oilers got it all out.
Yeah, poor positioning there. It's amazing how much of this has changed. Yes, there's still 5:25 left. The Cats need an answer. I just don't know if they're going to find one.
That's a second playoff goal that he scored in this postseason as it's settled in. Bobrovsky won an icing. He's not going to get it. But Kozin takes out his man. My goodness, what a thundering rocket of a hit. And it'll be sent into the zone. Picker plays out to the far side. Barkov keeps it alive. Verhaeghe wants to spin it back. Kozin there. It's Brad Marchand. H.O. Anton Lundell there. Draisaitl knocks down Marchand. This one knocked away. It's Kozin. Held inside. Mikla. Whoa, an auspicious handle. And everyone has to exit the zone as this puck came out outside the blue line. So Edmonton will have to move it up. Kulak with Reinhart chasing. Up the far side. This bounced up. And the Panthers want to regain control. They led 3-0. All their goals came in the first period. The Oilers have since scored 4 unanswered. They've had 1 free goal comeback in this season. That was against Colorado. 3-on-2 as Connor Brown activates. Brown sharp angle. The pass missed. And back the other way. Verhaeghe may have a partial break, but he's partially offside. Ekblad fires inside. Verhaeghe has to get back. And all of a sudden, the Panthers, they are disorganized on their zone entries because they have delayed offsides. Verhaeghe waits and fires up. And continuing that theme of disorganized looks. Walman has it right behind Pickard. 4 minutes left. It will be the first time in 19 years in which it was the free goal comeback in the Stanley Cup Final should this be completed. Bennett is closed off. Rodriguez offside. He was about 4 strikes ahead.
You said it right on your call, and I'm thinking the same thing now. Like, I haven't said this very often, maybe ever, in a Paul Maurice team for the Florida Panthers. They just look shell-shocked about what happened. I think everybody is.
Yeah. I mean, can you really blame Panthers fans? But no. They are all shell-shocked at this comeback. We know about great teams find ways to overcome adversity. The Oilers are a great team. Off this face-off, it is won by Edmonton. They moved from left to right. They were down 3-0. And they could give the Panthers just their second loss when leading after any period in the Paul Maurice era. And they came into the finals on a 31-game winning streak as such. Schmidt thrown towards a slot, that pass intercepted. And the Oilers moving it back with Draisaitl. Draisaitl cuts around the fence. Draisaitl, big save, Bobrovsky. He had to have that one to keep the Cats alive.
You're absolutely right. If they have any chance at all, nice toe drag swag there for Draisaitl. Bottom right corner, and he just gets robbed by Officer Bob. I don't even know how you make that move if you're Draisaitl. At least between a phone booth near the right side boards. That's what a superstar can do.
Perhaps the 5-0 will suit better, but of course, great goaltenders find great ways to keep their teams afloat. And Sergei Bobrovsky, even at 36 years old, he still has juice left in the tank. We don't know for how long though, but the Patrick Waugh comparisons are scarily accurate. Bouncing puck as it came to Jeff Skinner. Skinner fires, it is wide, comes towards the near side. With 3:08, Frederick and Henrique are there. This third line has had a rejuvenation of life here. This puck cleared out past Skinner as Luxtorinen had it. Fire back inside, it went right onto Bobrovsky. 2:55 to go. Brad Marchand, this third line has been lethal for the Panthers. He just throws one on Pickard, plays this one out towards the near side for RNH. Bouncing puck is grabbed by the Nuge towards Mattias Ekholm at that far corner. Connor Brown also pursuing. This one kept inside the line by the Cats, and this one turned away by Pickard. Mikkola, sharp angle, McDavid watches. Bouchard also there. And it's spun out towards the far out boards. RNH gets it out. Will this go all the way for an icing? It will. And the Oilers can breathe a sigh of relief for the moment. The Panthers have to think about pulling Big Bob now.
Bobrovsky's already making his way to the bench. They're doing it. 2:26 left to go in this third. It was once 3-0 after the first 20. The Oilers scored one in the third to answer the 3 they scored in the second. They're trying to take a 2-2 series tie back to Rogers.
The Oilers were the last team to blow a 3-0 lead in a Stanley Cup Final game. Can they be the next team to join the list among teams to come back from a 3-0 game? Pickard makes another good save on a long shot. 6-on-5 here. Oilers trying to seal the deal here at Sunrise. This puck exits out as this is just barely onto Bennett's stick. And Bouchard can't get it out. Tkachuk kept it in. Along the far side, it's play to Henrique. Ekblad and Reinhart free it up towards the right point. Barkov walks the point. Shot went wide. Tkachuk worked it out towards the left circle. Tkachuk to Barkov. All the way for Jones, and now it's Reinhart. Ekblad, one-timer! Just missed it! It's held in by Barkov, who has yet to score in the finals. Barkov sets it out front. The pass went wide. Jones held it in for Barkov. Barkov, watched by McDavid. Knocked away by Walman, and is picked up by the Oilers. McDavid can't clear the zone as it's held in by Seth Jones. Down deep is Tkachuk. Watched by Bouchard. Bennett elevates it. Missed it. Up high. On the right side. Holding it for a shot. And that was denied. This puck out of play, 1:21. And I think Paul Maurice is going to use that timeout.
Yeah, you might have to here, Alec. Again, you don't want to give rest on the other side for the Oilers. I don't think you have a choice. Bennett tried to clear out his man in front for Bouchard. The soft little cross-check. He knew what he was doing there. But that chance, as it goes to the right side bumper, as you said, when Tkachuk behind the net goes wide. And it is indeed timeout for Paul Maurice. So it's going to be top line against top line. You wouldn't want that any other way. with 80 seconds left to go in the third.
Though Florida, of course, they need to score this next goal to send us to overtime. Now, I know Oilers fans, they may be looking at 2013 as a glimmer of hope among trailing 2-1 a series if they were to pull the series victory. For those who remember, the Blackhawks trailed that series 2-1 and went on to win this series. The first three of the first 4 games were decided by 1 goal, and those ones were decided in overtime. So the Oilers can point to that. Now, the defensive game plans, we have to look for the Oilers. Of course, the Panthers, they're going to be looking at guys like Bennett and Tkachuk to score the tying goal. But what about Barkov?
You mentioned his name again. He's got some assists. Tkachuk's got a couple of goals. But you're right. I said his name a couple of games ago with the double OT. That didn't come to fruition. It's about time for Alexander.
It is well past time for him. And if he can get that tying goal, the rewards will be sweet. Oilers win the faceoff with Kulak picking it up. This puck bounces towards the net, and it missed. 1:15 left.
I don't even know how to put this game into words, but the Oilers did what they needed to do. It's not 1:15 was standing. They at least got themselves in the front foot of this game when their season was on the line. What an effort it was from the second period extending into the third. Can they hold it?
Of course, Brett Kulak did what he had to do. Though if they can get that last clear, it'll be also important for tying up this series. Bouchard, this puck bounced up, and it's still going. The icing is waved off. The Panthers have to go 200 feet now. It'll be Tkachuk with 103. Up to the near side, this puck bounces, and it's ice against the Panthers.
Here's my question now, Alec. I know Bobrovsky's going to come back in. But if you're one of the forwards, as soon as the puck is dropped, do one of them cheat up the ice while maybe a couple of the other guys back try to dig the puck out, try to catch the Oilers sleeping?
You're applying it Sidney Crosby style?
You might want to try to do something. You got to get up the ice and hope that you can kind of jailbreak.
55 seconds left in Game 4. Panthers staring at a 2-2 series tie. This puck bounces up. It'll be collected by Edmonton. It was deflected, so no icing. Down the ice. Bobrovsky can't get pulled, so he'll have to stay for the moment. 42 seconds. Set up for Barkov. Bouncing puck will be settled down. And Bobrovsky's going towards the bench. He has no other options. Bouchard wants to get this one out. And this will be collected up by Seth Jones. 30 seconds left. Towards the near side, Tkachuk. Tkachuk fires this one deep. It'll be Pickard. Towards the far corner. Kulak. Along the far boards, Verhaeghe on the keep. Sets one down in front. Bouncing puck. Tkachuk on a sharp angle. Score! Sam Reinhart! Are you serious?
I can't believe it. I'm so glad I didn't jump on you, Alec, because I almost did. I can't believe it. It was the only option. It felt that way last year. On the side, remember when you had Vegas, you had a Game 5 a couple of years ago. No, they didn't win the series. Find a way to get it done. Pickard throws it in behind the end boards. It's not a clean, convincing pass. Couple extra touches, 3 rebounds. Pickard's nowhere to be found at the goal crease. And the Cats have found a way to tie it. Can they win it?
Well, as they say, Pickard was way out the crease. And I know for the fact that he was trying to play this puck out. Reinhart read the play entirely. If you're a goaltender, tend the goal. Just plain and simple. And our renewed sense of life here at Sunrise. With 19.5, we speak of Corey Perry. 2 games ago, Sam Reinhart joins that company. 15 seconds left. And it could be staring at another overtime game. Darnell Nurse, the Mattias Ekholm. Ekholm wants to set it up. Panthers trying to steal the game at the last moment. And the Oilers saying this one down. And can you believe it? For the third time this series, it is overtime.
Ian, you take the immediate thoughts. Will you jump in?
Well, as a Blues fan, Oilers fans, all I can ask is this. So is this your first time? Yeah, we've been here before. Look, Oilers fans, from personal experience, here's what I recommend. Just prepare to be disappointed, sad. That deep pit you're feeling in your stomach right now. That's what we call hopelessness and heartbreak and disappointment. So yeah, I mean, the Blues did this basically all season, but especially towards the end of the season and in Game 7 of the first round. We thought we had it won. We thought we were going to the second round the way the Oilers fans thought they were. They were going to tie the series up. And then 20 seconds.
Look,
20 freaking seconds.
Yes, Ian. I don't, admittedly, Alec, I'm not taking away what the Edmonton Oilers did. 4 unanswered goals to get themselves off the map because they're fighting for their lives in their series. They forced this OT, and they deserve it. And I cannot, in my right mind, yes, Pickard's end-around pass was awfully slow, and that's what allowed with the extra attacker, the madness, and Sam Reinhart about 3 extra passes as he gets swimming in the goal crease. They're not at this point if Pickard's not in there, but boy, oh boy, if you get the 4th goal from Jake Walman as you did at 13:36, you really got to close it.
You have to, because you can't just settle back for soft passes like that. I know Pickard, of course, he's still on his head, but that's the one time which a goal allowed was, you could say, the goaltender's fault as per se, but you can't just settle back, because if you get complacent at 6-on-5, this is the end result.
So here's the latest reset. Mattias Ekholm on the power play, his 6 from Alex Barkov at 11:40. Got a lot of chances on front of the net. That one a low snipe there for Kachuk. Same deal from Reinhart and Barkov as he gets another one at 16:56. Anton Lundell, pretty good pass there alongside for Verhaeghe. There is nobody in front of the net from Stuart Skinner. He ends up getting pulled. But now Pickard's going to be the goaltender of record in this game. It was 3-0 Cats after 1. But the Edmonton Oilers figure they're, out because they had to. Their season was on the line. RNH on a setup from Draisaitl and McDavid. It's a very poor penalty from Sam Bennett. That high stick ends up burning them. Darnell Nurse. It's a pass from a severe angle near the left side dot, and you just roof daddies that thing over Sergei Bobrovsky, makes it 3-2. And then Vasily Podkolzin, after Darnell Nurse gets the pickup and behind the net, throws it out in front of the slot. We're tied. That at 15:05 of the second. Then inconceivably, one of Alex's best calls, again, he's had a ton of them, for Jake Walman, as it's 4-3 Kasperi Kapanen. There's 4 Panthers that converge in behind the net. Walman's wide open near the right dot. All he's got to do is pot it away into an open net. Bobrovsky tries to slide over with the glove. Can't do so. It's a 4-3 lead. Edmonton comes all the way back. But Sam Reinhart, with 20 seconds left on the extra attacker, Kachuk and Bennett try to find that one in between the slop, all the bodies in front of the goal crease. Sam Reinhart. It's an angle, but he pots it in toward the bottom right corner. And gentlemen, this game is tied again. One more time for the team stat reset. Cats ahead on the hits and shots, 36-30. It is face-offs, 38-34 for the Oil, but 31-22 on the side for shots and hits. The power plays today, 1 for 4 for Edmonton, 2 for 4 for the Cats, so nothing wrong with their power play percentages anymore at home. And how do you see it? Again, are we still in the same lines of if the Oilers lose this game that the series is done? Or because they fought all the way back, even going down 3-1, does that give you some hope?
Oh, I think it's one way or another, but I think I'm still on that same boat. It could go either way, though. But the Oilers, win this one, there is new life. That the Panthers, they were shell-shocked for a couple of minutes, but the moment they got the goaltender out, they get 6-on-5 going, that might have rejuvenated them. But I feel if you're the Oilers, you keep attacking and give the Panthers a taste of their own medicine as to what happened in Game 2. hoping that it doesn't go to overtime still, by the way. But at the same time, you want to keep being the aggressor and test Sergei Bobrovsky. Catch them off-footed. Keep them gassed.
Alec, I'm in 100% agreement with you. I think the best that the Oilers have played in this series is accentuated from that second period. Obviously, they scored 3 goals. But as you mentioned, north-south, up and down, crisp passing, play quick. They need to do that, and they need to do that for the rest of this series all the way until they can possibly lift the Stanley Cup. You can't have those type of games where you play on the back foot anymore. You're able to survive that first period. You got punched right in the mouth. It was a pretty much standing 9 count. Able to just get back up and fight your way back into the game. But really, you found something to take back into Rogers. Somehow, some way, they got to find a way to tie this at 2. But I will say now, if this goes to 3-1, I won't say 100-0 that the Panthers win it. I would at least say now 80-20. Because if the Oilers can do that, they showed me at least a little bit from last year, those types of runs that they had that largely started the same way. Quick offense, quick strikes and breaks, and some chances up and down the ice. That looked a lot better for them. I can't believe, and I shouldn't be surprised. Again, you really got to close it there. You just got to be able to block the front of the net, not chase. I know it's a poor pass from Pickard, not putting it all on him, but man, oh man, that one stings if you're Edmonton.
Yeah, well, John, I have a differing opinion on that.
Sure.
Well, maybe not a differing opinion, but this is where I'm at. The Oilers need to win this game. They need to be the one to win this, because if they go down 3-1, it doesn't matter that they've fought all the way. Okay. It doesn't matter. It's a bit harsh. Here's what I mean by it doesn't matter. If they end up losing this game, then I don't see where they have any confidence left, because they just gave everything they had to come back and win and still lose. What else do you have? So no, they have to win this and tie it up going back to Edmonton to have a shot.
I will grant you that perspective, Ian. I think you got me cornered on that one. As nice as I'm trying to be to the Oilers, I think you said it best, because that's the bear trap. Because that was their opportunity, and now they have to convert it. So I don't disagree with you there. I think me even saying 80-20 as I just did, I should be backing up in a corner and apologizing to you. So I appreciate that. You're right.
I'll give you the 80-20, John. I can at least agree with you there on that remark.
Yeah, it's rough. Again, this is coming from someone that's obviously not rooting for the Oilers, but I'm trying to play devil's advocate and play both sides. But you boys are right. This is one that they got to have, and you hope that they don't lament what just happened. I look at it in the sense of making all of those changes and wondering why, and then coming out of the second period and being completely shocked because we haven't seen the Panthers look that way. I mean, they look discombobulated, and that's the nicest way I could say it, all the way to 4-3, and then they find a way to tie it. And we got crazy time again. I mean, I guess we can get what we wanted. We didn't get it all last year of overtime games. Now we already got 3.
And how crazy to think of that. So now as they're settling down with everything, just settling into the craziness that's been this year's Stanley Cup Final. If the Oilers do win in overtime again, who knows what's in store for Game 5.
I say we got to do it again. We've done it. I know we've left Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl open for the taking. I think this is a time where I remove the Band-Aid. If one of you guys want to take them, I think that's open on the table at this point. They've rested for 3 games in our picks. Alec, go ahead. You do the honors. Lead it off. Who's your OT winners for both sides?
All right. I know the Band-Aid has been ripped off for overtime heroes between the superstars, that is. I know, of course, those are the obvious choices, but, I'm going to stick with having McDavid set up an assist on the game-winning goal, and I'm going to go with him setting up the other Connor Connor Brown on the overtime winner. So for that, of course, it's the top line. The two Connors connect, just elevate to the top line. You would think that he's having himself an outstanding game defensively at the very least. It'll be time for him to chime in offensively. For the Panthers, I'm going to go, of course, with one of the big guns. The Band-Aids have been ripped off, as he said, but, it's about time that he gets on the score sheet. We saw the other superstar get on the score sheet in Matthew Tkachuk. Of course, he's on hat-trick watch, but I think I'd rather hand it to Alexander Barkov. He is due for a goal in the finals. He got a point, but you think that it will not be enough. He's played amazing defensively. Offensively, we'd love to see more from him. He chimed in with a face-off win that resulted in the Tkachuk goal. But I'd love to see him score the winner. That's why I have Barkov.
Ian, give me your winners.
I have no clever picks. It'll either be Tkachuk or McDavid. I'm being lazy tonight.
No problem. You got Tkachuk, McDavid. Like I said, I'm ripping off the Band-Aids. I think they're open today. I think that's probably the right way to go. This leaves it pretty interesting for me. Do I really believe that there's going to be a third or fourth liner that's going to win the game and alongside for the Oilers? I don't. Again, I had Kasperi Kapanen a couple times over the last two. I like that he's hit some posts and he's been close. But, man, oh man, if it's going to be a defenseman, give me Evan Bouchard. I think I got to take one of the big ones. And, hell, you know what? Let me go defenseman the other way. Let me see an ugly goal. I'm going to go Nico Mikkola.
That makes a lot of sense, knowing that overtime, it can get ugly. Of course, overtime, where all things happen. Speak of ugly goals, Darnell Nurse. That was the best goal of his career.
Yes, it was. Unbelievable shot. I think if you asked him to do that again on an open net, maybe like 99 out of 100 times you wouldn't be able to angle it like that. That was a heck of a shot.
It was. Though if we're talking about if the Oilers, they can rely on that top-end talent, well, they have relied on their depth in this game for the most part outside of that first goal that they scored with R&H. So finally, they rip off the Band-Aid. And you know what other game that they ripped off the Band-Aid in which their top-end talent came through in the clutch? Look at Game 2 of the Vegas series, in which it ended in overtime. Their depth was the main reason which they were in that game. They were up 4-2, and yes, Vegas did tie it, but you can only hold up McDavid and Draisaitl from the score sheet for so long. And they came through in the clutch. It's amazing how McDavid can make Jack Eichel, one of the better two-way centers in the league, look rather pedestrian. Ian, you were there too.
I'm going to step aside, gentlemen, really quickly. I will be right back.
All right. Man. Go ahead, Ian.
Oh no, I've got nothing else to say right now. I mean, it's oh man, the Oilers. They're so close, Alec, and I've been saying this throughout the playoffs. You said it, or you and John have said it earlier in the broadcast. But this is their last shot. This and when I say last shot, it really is, because what else can they do?
Yeah.
So, Oilers, this is the most since your cup wins in the 80s, and even more so than 2006 and last year, this is the most important playoff series your franchise has played in over 4 decades.
Yeah. As we're getting over to begin overtime, so I'm taking the first 10 minutes. And if we do need an additional 10 minutes, I'll turn it over to John. So, of course, it is top line against top line to begin. OT for the third time in the finals. 4-4, just like Game 2. Corey Perry, Sam Reinhart with the 2 latest game-tying goals in Stanley Cup Final history. Off the face-off, and it's won by the Cats. Brad Marchand fires this in. I said top line against top line. The third line for the Panthers playing like a top line. Up the far side, Perry might have got knocked down. It's the fourth line starting off with Pakolzin of Draisaitl replacing Janmark. Up the near side, Draisaitl's getting double shifted up from throughout as Mikla. This will be iced. Right onto the skate as the Oilers never gained the zone or the line. Or was it? Oh, just by inches, it just missed out on the ice as Mikla paid very close attention. He was right in front of the blue line. And as the puck bounced up, he knew that the puck was just ahead of the blue line. Panthers going for the win. Too clean of a face-off win. And it exits all the way out to the Florida zone. So, the first shots have not come by, but it's going to be collected up by the Cats. They'll sweep it through center with Evan Rodriguez, but Draisaitl is there, and the Oilers will pick it up. They'll have to be the more desperate team to start off this OT. Gustav Forsling recollects, but it's held in by RNH. Up the far corner, this bounces up for McDavid. CMD delivers this one back. One-timer went well wide of the crease. Mattias Ekholm plays this one out, but it's collected by Tkachuk. Can't find anyone as RNH gets this one back for Bouchard. Up the far boards, the pass a little too far, and it's icing.
36-31 on the shot board. Again, we have OT. 3 of the first 4 games in this series. I guess Game 3 was the anomaly. Again, most postseason overtime goals and active players. Raggy 5, Marchand 5, Perry 5.
And Marchand has 2 overtime winners this postseason alone. So it does to even him up. One-timer, Forsling. This puck was stopped by Pickard. Towards the trapezoids, Reinhart wanted to play it out in front. He has no lane, so he'll defer to Ekblad. One-timer, bounced off the skate of Barkov. He'll keep this one inside. McDavid picks it up over to Bouchard. Bouchard moved it up to Connor Brown. He played out for Ekblad. RNH going towards the bench. He is dead tired. Ekblad moved up the near side, deflected up off Barkov. It's icing.
And that Forsling chance right off the draw was rolling. That's a really good save there for Pickard as he stopped it with just the pad, I believe. Might have went wide, but that was a bomb for Forsling.
I almost thought it was deflected off of Bouchard's stick and stopped by Pickard right on the chest. Now it's the Oilers off the face-off, broken stick on the play. Came loose for Frederick. This puck loose in the front. They're all wacky on it. Came loose. Bobrovsky doesn't have his stick. A massive humanity there. And puts it shoving afterwards. Jeff Skinner tried to end it. He's barking at Johnny Bear, asking for a penalty.
Great call by you, Alec. I'm looking at the mad scrum now as Frederick. This one hits the right side of the post. Gustav Forsling also stops it from going across the goal line, and then Bobrovsky reaches back. I mean, if that doesn't hit the bar there, the Oilers win the game. It was just a massive humanity.
Oh my goodness, was Trent Frederick ever so close to scoring the winner there? If not for Gustav Forsling, this would have been an even series. And for me saying what I wanted to say, if the Oilers were to win this game. So, 1:41 gone here in OT. It'll be the third line out there for the Cats. Opposite the third line for the Oilers. So, third line against third line. Puck comes out to the right place. Walman. High pass. Could not be gloved down. Will be collected up by Kulak in his second stint with the Cats. Henry kept it inside. Not for long, though. But this bounces towards the Oilers side. Near the penalty box doors. Frederick fired this in deep towards the far corner. First one back are the Cats. Moving towards the far side, this one settled down at center ice by the Oilers. Nurse, with the Panthers changing. Nurse will send it up. Down the far side, the ice. This will be collected up by Lopsided. Into Lopsided. Wafted this one up for Brad Marchand. Marchand stops. He'll hold towards the far side. Skated down by A.J. Greer. Greer gets shut off along the near corner. Towering presence for the Cats, the former Calgary Flame. Jones tried to get a deflection, but can't. This one moved up ahead. Kapanen brought down at the blue line. It'll be Greer who was shut down by Kulak. The fans calling for a holding penalty. We stay 5-on-5. Bouchard got this over towards the near half boards. Kane struggling to get this one out. Sent a pass for Nosek. And that one deflected off of a stick. Played up by Kane. And this will be whistled down.
We haven't said the fourth line's name a lot. Understandably, don't play as many minutes, but Edmonton's played more than Florida's. And that one there between Nosek and Greer, as you mentioned, not going off for a stick, then Florida has a chance to counter. And the heartbeat's certainly been prevalent. We've almost had some near goals already. And once that hit the post on Edmonton's side, Frederick's got to be sick to his stomach. You got to get a chance to finish.
Jeff Skinner also sick to his stomach. He wanted a penalty on Florida out of this one. It's Aaron Ekblad who fires his one around the near boards. Ekholm collects it up. Has to hurry up on the pass. One of the Panthers blows a tire. Up the far boards. This is knocked away by Forsling. Along the left point, Ekholm plays this one on a setup pass that was blocked. Towards the far side. At center ice. Leon Draisaitl whacks the puck away. Tkachuk there. This puck's trapped in no man's land at center ice. Goes all the way for Walman. As the Oilers will reset. They almost run into one another. As Podkolzin lofts this up for Draisaitl. Partial break for him. Has Ekblad on him. Draisaitl. Ekblad forced it wide. Draisaitl along the near half boards. Verhaeghe takes it away from him. He'll move it over to Tkachuk. Matthew Tkachuk enters in. Stick it away. As the Oilers will play this one out. And here could not be reached in by Corey Perry as he was on his last gasp. Oh! And I thought that there was going to be a penalty there. As the Panthers fans cheering onwards, that almost was a penalty. This is going to be an icing against the Panthers.
Corey Perry did the best he could do. He had nothing left, as you said, in the tank. And then Gustav Forsling throws him right to the rock concert into the boards. Man, oh man, that one hurt.
Yeah, that really hurt for the 40-year-old. Fortunately, played this much physical hockey for over 30 years. Of course, the wear and tear is going to catch up. Man, Perry had nothing left in the tank.
Now it's going to be an ozone draw for Connor McDavid. See what they can do.
McDavid, Brown, and RNH here for the face-off. Bouchard and Walman up against Forsling, Ekblad, Reinhart, Barkov, and Verhaeghe. So that's the 5-on-5 units out there. McDavid and Reinhart. Advantage McDavid on the face-off win. Walman a blast! Went wide. On the pursuit, it is McDavid as he picks it up, or rather RNH. Around for Brown. It'll be held in by Walman from the right point. Collected up, it's McDavid. McDavid sweeps one. That was a stick it away. And the Panthers will move it up, coast to coast. It is Verhaeghe. He'll sweep one for Barkov. That one swept away of a stick. Waiting is Bouchard. Flinging this one down the ice. Edmonton poking this one ahead as McDavid was there along the right point and offside.
So again, admittedly, Game 5 a couple of nights from now. Again, all 8:15 Eastern as it is. And then we will get that 3-day break. Should we need a Game 6, it'll be the same way into Game 7 if necessary as well. The Oilers have proven their game for it. Now they got to find a way. They couldn't close in regulation. Got to try to do it in OT.
So this faceoff will come outside the zone. It's the line that almost scored the OT winner for the Oilers. That's Jeff Skinner's line with Adam Henrique and Trent Frederick. Off the tie-up, it is Henrique. Delivered over from Kulak to Nurse. Dumped in from the near side. Schmidt collects at the far boards. Losterinen left it. Skinner kept this one inside. Pursuing is Frederick, who pins Kulikov towards the wall. Schmidt also there. Losterinen gets this one down. Will this have enough to reach Pickard? Yes, it will. Though the Panthers avoid the icing, Brad Marchand watches Darnell Nurse. Nurse waits. Take his sweet time with this as the Oilers change lines. Ekholm back on the ice. Fans impatient. They want to see puck movement. Up the far boards. This one deflected up onto Bobrovsky. And when the Oilers blows a tire, is Losterinen fitted up through the near side. Up the middle. Here comes Florida. The shot is blocked and cleared out through center. The Panthers have to reset. It'll be Seth Jones. Backpedaling and then moving up front. This takes a bounce as Pickard will leave it for Jake Walman. Walman for the near side. Evander Kane. Kane sends this around through the far boards. Off a bounce, it is Seth Jones. Mattias Janmark is out there on the ice. He is chasing Jones. Jones through the far boards. This bounces up, and it will be another icing. The Panthers have done a few of those here in overtime. They got to stop with that.
Absolutely. I was thinking the same thing. What a back pass in the set for Anton Lundell, right between the legs to Nate Schmidt. Again, Anton Lundell, if not for the shot block there for Jake Walman from Schmidt, would have been a grand opportunity.
It would have been from the high slot, but Walman held his own. That's why the Oilers acquired him at the deadline. Defensive defensemen win you playoff games. McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice, the two-headed monster. Ekholm sends one off the side of the cage. Gadjevich trying to play this one out, and he does so. Up ahead of steam, it is Lopsided. Lopsided trying to put a backhander past Bouchard. was Pickard who was there. Bouchard picks it up from the far corner. Sends this one back for Ekholm. Both teams make their changes. Mattias Ekholm, right as the midst of these two teams changing their lines. McDavid still out there. Corey Perry. Perry backhands one for Draisaitl. It was forced wide by Forsling. McDavid wants to get it in. Ekblad forechecking him. Reinhart gets his one in deep. Pickard slowing it down. Towards the near side. Ekblad on the keep. This puck bounces 60 feet up in the air, and McDavid gloves it down. Ekholm will reset. 13:30 to go here in the first OT. Will stay for as long as necessary. Ekholm with the stretch pass is intercepted. Reinhart wanting to walk back in. Sam Reinhart driving around Mattias Ekholm. Reinhart right in front gets forced wide. Bouchard up the far boards. The big time players on the Oilers have been out there for quite a while. They're gas. Bennett one-timer! Oh! That just missed the OT winner! Oh my goodness! How close would it have been? Changes coming for the Oilers as they come back. Draisaitl to McDavid! And he got stick with it! McDavid going back. It is Corey Perry. Wanting to put one for Draisaitl. They are dead tired. They have to change their lines. And finally they will. Evan Rodriguez down the near side. Dumping this one around onto the far boards. It's collected by Kulak. Connor Brown. Moving up for the far side, puck Cozen. Gets forced out. Brown still chasing. Lundell has it. 12:30 to go. First OT. Lundell. RNH was there, but Cozen bouncing puck. Got it deep into the Panther zone. Up the far side, deflected up. It'll be retrieved by Nurse. Nurse. Away from Lundell. With the far side, Kulak. Got forecheck right onto a wall. Marchand swinging a miss on the keep, but it bounces right in front. High swat! Oh! Pickard, another good save. Kulak can't play it. Marchand could. Along the far outboards, he is double teamed, but keeps a hold of the puck. Can't get this one up front. And Cozen places one out. Brown. Around Forsling. No icing as Ekblad played this one out. All of a sudden, the Panthers are the more aggressive team. A mishandle at center ice. Not for long, though, as moving up the near side is Marchand. Marchand wants to have his third OT winner of the postseason. He fires one. Pickard the save. He dives and gets another. Oh, my goodness.
Man, oh man, we just keep walking into legendary games. I know game 3 was a little bit different. I'm looking at it now for Bennett. He wires the 1T. Pickard gets a piece of it. Then it hits the top of the crossbar and stays out.
That was so close. Sam Bennett off Pickard's glove, off the crossbar. How in the world? Oh my goodness. Just keep getting these instant classics.
Yeah, for all the chances that Bennett's had that he's converged on, he's had 3 opportunities in this game, and he has not scored in any of them.
We may be waiting for that moment, but for the moment, he is on the bench. Panthers win a faceoff. It comes back all the way towards the left point. The shot is blocked. Rebound chance goes towards behind the net. Nosek pinned by Ekholm. He frees it up towards the right point. Gets his one in deep. Ekholm blocked it. Backhander. Walman kicked it through. It's held inside by the Cats, though. It'll be back all the way through center, where it's Kulikov towards Schmidt. Back to Kulikov. 39-34, the shots on goal in favor of the Cats. Could be the winner here. Co-drag! Missed it by a mile. Towards the near corner. Ekholm pinned this man along. Kane. Watched by Nosek as the former Golden Knight tried to get one up, but can't. Holding is Edmonton along the near side. And Frederick can't get this one out. On the races, it is Barkov. And a perfect back check by Mattias Janmark to get the stick check. Kane moves back with this. Up the air. This will be not gloved down by Nico Mikkola. Mikkola bouncing puck right off of Kane. Barkov in some trouble. It'll go out for Kulak. And I guess it's best to hand it off to you, John.
So 10:25 left to go in the OT thereabouts. Should we need it all? John out here alongside Alec Now and Genge. It's a 4-4 OT. Edmonton trying to get it to a 2-2 series. And Florida almost taking a 3-1 death lock if they get this win. It's put in behind the inboards now. Nurse lost it for a moment. Here's Ekblad, fires it into the screen. And that one goes wide. Center the corner now, just wide to the right side post. Here's a slapper. And off the backboards, the left side point. Throw back around the horn now. It's Carter Verhaeghe. He gets taken down and held. They're definitely not going to get any of those calls in OT unless it's absolutely egregious. Kachuk slows it down across center ice. Pickard makes the easier play. There's a lot of forecheckers right now for Florida. If Edmonton gets the puck out, it could be dangerous. Kachuk played in off the backhand. This is clear. Gustav Forsling will throw it back down. Rolling puck. And this will not be iced. We'll press on. 39-34 on the shot board. Sam Reinhart's goal had tied it with 20 seconds left. Answered Jake Walman's potential game winner. That's why we're still going. Lindell with the steal. Try to set Lusterinen. Good shot. That one closed by the right pad of Pickard. As this will be bounced to Nurse. And pushed ahead. Podkolzin now throws it the other way. Connor Brown. Toe drag. It took a couple players to dispossess him of the puck. Lusterinen's job's not done, though. It's McDavid in between a corner. And this will be deflected off of Lusterinen's skate and then sent back down across the Cats logo at Amerant Bank Arena. That's the site of where we are. We're going to change ends in a couple nights from now. Touch pass from Kane. Scores! It's Perry from Draisaitl, and it's over. A 2-2 series tie.
Ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't know, the announcer jinx is very, very real. I said the game and series were over in the first period. Well, we were in for a surprise, John. And the announcer jinx has fully delivered here. And full circle, the Oilers with a much-needed road victory at Amerant Bank Arena as they all surround their hero, Calvin Pickard, who has took over from start to finish. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a new NHL single postseason record for most playoff overtime goals in a single playoff run. Leon Draisaitl with his fourth playoff OT winner. That broke a tie with Maurice Richard, Mel Hill, Corey Perry, and Matthew Tkachuk for the most ever. Off the setup, it is driven in deep with the Oilers setting up. And Draisaitl, this was a pass. This was supposed to be a pass intended for Corey Perry. It just snuck right by the 5-hole of Sergei Bobrovsky. And it might have bounced off of Mikkola, but now, I don't know how this found it back in the net, but we're not sure how or why. But the Oilers don't give a you-know-what. They're headed back to Edmonton, all evened up.
No, they don't. Again, Ice and Mikkola on the other side for the Cats. Little did I know it would bounce off of his skates and 5-hole through Bobrovsky, so I guess I got that half right. And you guys also got Draisaitl, so we were all over the lottery ticket board. Gentlemen, it's a 2-2 series tie. And Alec, I've been waiting for your narrative. You've been teasing us all night. What were you going to say about a 2-2 series? I want to hear your thoughts.
Oh, I already mentioned it about the announcer jinx, but about a 2-2 series, perhaps could the I don't know if the Oilers could look to 2013 and get influence from the Blackhawks. Then again, they did look to the Chicago Blackhawks for influence because Duncan Keith paid them a visit last year when they were down 3-0 in last year's Stanley Cup Final. But now it's a brand new series. And of course, you mentioned announcer jinxes. Of course, I did my part with this game is over in the first period. And I guess you did your part with the Mikkola pick. Oh my goodness, that's got to be rough for him.
We were all over the board. If there was a bullseye, we didn't hit dead center, but we got all the way across the board. I will give us credit for that. This has been a heck of a hockey game. And when the Oilers really need it, look, they were dead after the first period. So I don't blame Alec for any of that because the entire world, you look on social media, was saying the same thing. But it's my fundamental belief, not Chris Knobloch, it's the players and it's Pickard got their you-know-what together, man-to-man in that dressing room and say, hey, our season's on the line right now. If we don't bust our behinds, we're done. We need to find a way to get this one tied and go to Rogers. And guess what? 2 more nights from now, it's a 2-2 series tie. I know that opens up the door for Cooper Hopkins to finally call a finito in the part of the series with us, because we're going to at least get 6, and we may get 7.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah, go ahead, Ian.
Yeah. And let's go ahead and look at it game by game. Game 1, Oilers win at home in OT. Game 2, Florida wins in Edmonton in OT, rips their heart out. Game 3, Florida dog walks Edmonton in Florida. And now tonight, the Oilers return the favor by ripping the heart out of the Florida Panthers in OT in Florida. Fellas, I said that the series is over and there was nothing really to look forward to because the Oilers were going to be down. I am so happy to be eating crow right now, but I will also say this. Florida, you have now given... There is a saying that I have used again and again and again in sports where there are playoff series rather than elimination games. When you have the chance, you drive the dagger through the heart. Because if not, you'll find that just like in Nosferatu and any other vampire movie, the dead always come back.
I think that's a good analogy, Ian, and that might be what Alec and I were just calling there alongside you. I'm so glad to be in the broadcast with you, gentlemen. It's a brand new series, and again, I would think the same thing. I didn't declare the game over today, so thankfully I was not on the wrong side of that, but I did definitely say, alongside all of you, if it went 3-1, I agreed with you all that it was done, and then the Oilers had to figure out a way. I was going to say about 80-20. As I said, I was trying to be nice, but the Oilers did find a way. I give them tons of credit. This was the most important game to this point in McDavid and Draisaitl's careers. I understand the 3-0 to Game 7, but as I said to Alec the last time Cooper was on here, there was never a thought last year to me, even when it went that much, that the Panthers were going to lose. Now, coming in from the prediction of the Oilers in 6, I know it was on life support, but it's here, and I really believe 2 days from now on Saturday, I know the Panthers can find a way on the road and do well. I think the Oilers are going to be so relieved to come back home, and I'm expecting them to build on this effort. I think they're going to win on Saturday.
That's my same thinking, that if the Oilers win Game 5, Game 6 becomes a toss-up for one or another. But either way, I still think the Oilers find a way because they found a way all playoffs long. It's, and you pointed out about zombies. They always come back from the dead. And it's very hard to kill a zombie. If you want to do so, you have to aim for the brains. If you're playing hockey, you have to aim for the top shelf. And that time around, even though this was intended to be a pass, Draisaitl knows how to call game. And the Panthers, of course, they are faced with this dilemma. You're going up against a two-headed monster that is infused with the spirits of the dead. You have to go for the head.
So I'm going to say one other thing, and then I'll close this out. And I'm so excited to get to do another one of these, Alec, for this series, because we're going to at least get 6. But we're all in agreement now that Calvin Pickard's going to be starting Game 5.
For sure. He has to start Game 5. There's no other way that you can sugarcoat it. He's the hero, one of the heroes for the Oilers here tonight, and you have to go back to him.
Yeah, he's a perfect 7-0 right now, and I think he's going to get the train ride all the way till it's done. And then the only other thing I would say this, so let me know if you guys agree. I think we're destined to get 7 games now. I think the Oilers win on Saturday. I think it goes back to Florida on Tuesday. They finish it. Then they force a Game 7 at Rogers. And I think it will come down to predestiny here. The Oilers finally get home ice in the Stanley Cup Finals. I think they're going to win in 7. They needed home ice. That's where I see this going. I know it's a little bit to predict of what will happen by the time Friday hits, but do you think we're getting Game 7?
Oh, please. Yes. Well, I think we're getting Game 7 here. How I think it will go, the home team wins out the rest of the series. Edmonton wins Game 5. Florida wins Game 6. And then the Oilers win in Game 7. My prediction for Game 7 is that McDavid puts on a masterclass in Game 7.
That's exactly where I'm going as far as the home swings. I think that's what's on the horizon. I know, like I said, Cooper's probably not jumping in on Saturday because he'll be just getting back. But I would imagine Tuesday or Friday, alongside, we'll have the trio broadcast, maybe even quadruple if Ian's able to join in. And we can take this in. Drink it in, gentlemen. Have fun. I will see you on Saturday.
Have a good night, everyone.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Before we go. Wait,
go ahead, Ian.
Sorry. Before we go, fellas, peep what Tree just posted.
Uh-oh. Let's see.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh.
Oh,
No.
Nothing.
Not the Atlanta Falcons. I saw this last year with the whole 3-0 series lead, but what?
That's a great one by you, Alec. I appreciate you finishing off that way, and Ian, thank you for sharing that. I didn't want to go there with the Falcons yet because I'm not ready to do that, but this one definitely hurts the heartstrings. I will say that. I'm looking forward to Saturday, though.
Oh, the Stanley Cup Final is the gift that keeps on giving.
It sure is. You take care.
Absolutely.